crypto bet. So I step. Richard is a vet. Retired at 23, traveling in jets. He writes self-help books, especially his new book.
Yo,
there,
yo.
Access Lab.
What's going on, Maddie? All in?
Good to see you again.
Thank
And we've got your wisdom on tap here for the next 17 minutes at least. So looking forward to your talk here.
All righty. Let's look at some charts. Yeah, I'm going to have you pull those up there. So, hey, guys. Thanks for having me back for day 3. I figured we'd do a little chart session, see where the markets are sitting, and I'll keep my eye on the chat to the best of my ability so we can look at the stuff we want to look at together. But I thought maybe we'd start with some Ethereum price action. So this is the Ethereum chart. Oh, and I recognize that not everyone knows how to read charts, but I think everyone can see patterns. So that's kind of like the idea here, is to keep it pretty simple, and maybe you guys can follow along. So if you go back to if you want to break down the Ethereum chart, zoom out and break it down and look at the whole history of Ethereum, this is what you get. This is going back to 2015. But to bring it to what's relevant today, there's basically 3 areas on this chart that kind of emulate the same kind of price action of what we've seen recently. And simply put, it's like this descending, broadening wedge with a flat top. It happened in the past 3 cycles. I mean, you could find different ways of drawing patterns, but generally speaking, you get the same thing that's happened every time before a major move has happened in price. So back in the first real cycle for Ethereum, it built out one of these structures you can see here in yellow, and then it exploded out. And then in this past cycle, same thing again. We had Ethereum build out a broadening wedge pattern in the middle of the bear market, and when it broke out, it back tested that breakout level for some extended period of time. It's looking like about it says 100 days ish, 112 days. So based on what I'm seeing right now, Ethereum is testing the all-time high. We could be up here playing around up here for some period of time, maybe 112 days roughly, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter, depending on the demand. I think the difference being right now that the Ethereum treasury narrative is strong and going in full force, and there's a lot of accumulation occurring. If you go check out that ETH Strategic Reserve website that was made, you can see that these big corporations are just piling in to Ethereum and absorbing a bunch of the supply, which is what really created this markup period. So this is just, when we measure Ethereum versus the dollar, this is telling us kind of the general direction, which is that we're about to do the markup phase of the cycle. It's undisputed at this point. This is what's occurring. And to validate that argument, you can go look at my favorite chart right now, which is actually the ETH BTC ratio on a monthly, so that you when you look at something on a long time frame like this, where you're measuring monthly bars, you're really getting a grand picture of what's happening. Whereas if you're looking at daily charts or even weeklies in some cases, there can be some it can be kind of choppy and stuff, and so it's harder to get the big picture. So when you pull up things like these indicators that I'm pulling up now on a monthly chart, you can get a really, really clear picture of what's happening. So you can see this chart up top, and then you got these 3 panels below. The one I want you to focus on is this one. So in the entire history of the monthly Ethereum chart, this MACD cross has only happened one other time ever, and that was right here in 2020 around DeFi summer. So we're basically set up to do some kind of DeFi summer style run based on what the MACD is showing us on the monthly. Now this will confirm at the end of the month, and we're going to see billions and billions of dollars flooding into ETH. I think the ETF inflows have been outpacing Bitcoin inflows for some time now. But this is important because it's measuring the relative strength of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So that's even more a testament to that. It's Ethereum's time to run. And this is going to be super beneficial for PulseChain because PulseChain has lots of Ethereum whales, and it's backed by Ethereum, and it's literally a clone of Ethereum. So if Ethereum does well, we do well. For a long, long time, just in the price action alone, for a long time, the Ethereum price just bled to Bitcoin from the highs of December of 21 to the bottom, and was 1,200 days. And so we just broke that area. And it was happening right at the same area that the price of this ratio bottomed back in 2019, actually. Which, if we go back to our dollar chart, that 2019 price action you're seeing here circled in yellow, that's the same as saying this breakout price action right here. I'm sorry, right in here, end of 2019. So right here where this thing started to bottom, going into the black swan COVID dip. That's the same time period. So that ETH BTC ratio and the ETH USD price basically bottomed around the same area, and you're getting that again here, where we had this crazy like manipulation low and then a huge reversal. And so it's the same setup, same patterns. It's the most sure thing I think going on in crypto right now is ETH. And there's one other chart I wanted to show you in terms of ETH before we go on to PulseChain. I know I don't want to run too long into ETH, but this is like the bread and butter of what's going to make us successful, right? We're Ethereum, that's what we are. So it's when you measure ETH in gold. So like if you take the Ethereum chart and you measured it in gold ounces, it's been playing around the same exact way as it did in the past cycle. So just simply put, in the last cycle, there was an initial bottom that's noted by the blue check mark, and then there was a run up, and then there was a rejection point, which I got the red thumb, and then there was a secondary bottom where the price action wicks the same level as the previous bottom here, but it closes above, creating a higher low. So you had this wick low and then a higher low with a piercing of that bottom level. That's the green check mark. So in this most recent price action, we had the same setup. We had the first bottom, we had a run up into a rejection point, and that was the red thumb, and then a retest of that and a spike down on a wick low. It's the same exact thing all over again. So again, this is measuring Ethereum in gold ounces. And so where we are now is testing a breakout level, this diagonal resistance. And if it breaks and holds above that for, I would say, a month or two, I see no reason why Ethereum can't do multiples over what gold ounces. So I mean, we're looking at like a 2x to the highs. I think a gold ounce right now is like $3,300. So at 2.66 gold ounces, you're well low. You're in the $7,000 to $8,000 price range, and this is happening in a time when gold is actually still, well, it's consolidating now, but it's appreciating. It's been appreciating for years. So it's fun watching these ratios and being in on that and kind of seeing how all these markets are, how money is flowing in between all these markets. And I think it's Ethereum's time, guys. So that's the basis here. So then, we got to look at Corey Geary's secret chart. It's the PulseChain versus Ethereum price. It's been interesting. It's been very interesting. So basically, since PulseChain launched, it's lost value to Ethereum, and it's tried to bottom on multiple different occasions. And I think there's just like I would say to keep this chart in the back of your mind, because if it's going down, it doesn't necessarily mean that Pulse is losing value in dollar terms. It just means it's not outpacing Ethereum for a time. Eventually, this is going to have its time. And the reason why I say that at some point, Pulse is going to move in a big way versus Ethereum, let's say. And so what that might look like is, and I'm just going to draw a rough draw. Let's just say like it breaks out and it retests and then it makes another leg up. And then we start to actually go parabolic versus ETH. This is what happened to Hex in the last cycle, is where it was downtrending for some period of time. And in this case, it's been, for all intents and purposes, it's been downtrending for 800 days plus. So not as long as Hex was, but eventually it's going to lead to where huge overperformance versus ETH, just because of the liquidity dynamics, and just something small like $4 million coming in and buying up these assets is moving prices 10-20% in a single day. So it's going to be fun to watch this all compound in the face of, the marketing initiative and some of the other things that are going on in the background as well. This is what happened to Hex last cycle. It made a first big run up, and then it was basically downtrending for 357 days, minus this big payday spike here in the middle. So without this unique moment in time, you could virtually say that Hex lost value to ETH for over a year, basically, from that high. But what happened after that, when it finally gained its footing and broke out in a big way, was massive upside. And you're talking about like 38x versus Ethereum from that low. It's saying 30 here. I think from this wick low, it was like 38. So, just to say that if ETH, so let's say let's say like Pulse can do anything near this. This is saying 35x, right, against ETH. But ETH, let's say ETH does a 4x, so it goes 369. Let's say it goes to 12 grand. That's 12 grand times 35. Or I'm sorry, that's if we do a 35x, it's 35x and then a 4x on top of that. So you're talking hundreds of x returns on Pulse dollar in the face of a move like this. And I know it can get kind of hard to keep it all in frame because you're talking about the $2 prices. You're talking about the dollar price of ETH moving around and then the dollar price of Pulse moving around in the face of that and overperforming Ethereum. So it can get kind of confusing in that way, but that's what makes this hyper leverage on whatever Ethereum's doing. And that's what makes this trade exciting going into the next, like, I don't know, few months into the next year. So here's Pulse today, and it's at a major level. So I've been tracking this with my boardroom members for all year, basically. And getting rejected at that interpole resistance here, this is the blue line, was tough. And when we were coming into here, you know, I had to tell my members, like, I'm measuring downside targets. I said this thing could drop 50% from this level here, and I think it had ended up going minus 63% to the bottom here. And that was very painful time for a lot of our space. But things have been looking up since then. And you know, just in terms of on-chain stuff, I mean, there was a few guys that stepped in down here that had traded well in these periods here that came in here and defended the price and are still upholding that price to this moment. I'm talking about non-Richard Hartwell. So you know who you are out there that stepped in and built this weekly support down here, and which gave us this shot to take out this 3-day resistance level at 4 zeros and a 3-2. And we took that level out, and we went up here and we tested the parabolic decline, which I've coined the parabola, because it's a parabolic move to the downside. So you had like this consecutive testing of this level over and over 5 different times and rejections off every time. But until recently, we finally made a higher low, broke that 3-day resistance again, and clipped through that parabolic decline level for good now, I think. And now it's been I've been pretty optimistic. If you break it down and look down at like the 15-minute chart, what's been going on lately, there's obviously some sort of market maker move going on where there's automated buying going on at these levels inside of this range. I don't want to go too deep into the weeds on that, but it looks like the bulls want to reclaim and support the price above the interpole resistance level. So everything's looking good in PulseChain land. We got over the worst hump, which was this parabola, and now we just need to clear the interpole resistance, and then it's pretty much just a straight shot to sack rate under the right conditions. So I'm excited for you guys. Like, I think that for the most part, any kind of trading up in this zone here is super good. Like, we got the technical higher low, double bottom. Things are looking sweet that way. Unless like some unexpected FUD event rolls in, some black swan, or Ethereum, it's the end of the cycle, which, by the way, it's not the end of the cycle, guys. Just relax. You know, was to go down, like we might be in trouble, but I think things are looking pretty sweet. Beyond that, let's just take a look at the other Richard tickers. So this is PulseX measured in dollars, and I like it. I like the price chart. It's at a major level here on the diagonals. It's just a giant pennant on a log chart. It's not as clean on the linear chart, but on log, it's super clean. PulseX breaks this level, it's going to be pretty sweet. It's already testing this so many times because the buy and burn is working in its favor to outpace its growth in Pulse terms. And beyond that, I just wanted to show this comparison too of like what happened with XRP in its previous cycle. So XRP for 2,000 days was trapped in one of these pennants, and it wasn't until like their SEC case was resolved. Somewhere in here was step 1, and then here was like the second step of them getting past major hurdles legally. It wasn't long after that there was a huge breakout on XRP. And since then, XRP's even went higher. So my point is that we're here again testing this breakout level. And so, you know, we could be not very far off of seeing PulseX, it kind of insinuating what kind of a move is coming for PulseChain and PulseX and Hex and all the rest. Which brings me to the next coin, which is Hex, which I think looks the best out of all the Richard tickers currently. Lots of volume coming in, lots of price support. And it was really apparent when we had the third biggest sacrificer come in and clip out of his entire PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex positions in this period here, that the hexagons were here to back up the truck and support price and create a higher low structure for the third time. So there was a bottom, a higher low, and a third higher low, which really set in the tone that Hex is about to go up in a big way. And this is also really much easier now because the inflation has been reduced so much by the OA staking. So if you're new, I know I'm throwing a lot of concepts at you, but go back and rewatch again, or come check me out on accesslive.com, and I'm happy to like help you understand how we can see these things coming ahead of time. We didn't quite. So on this projection here, I had drawn this yellow line. We were up here when I drew it. I said, well, we need to come back and test 1 cent one more time. We got the wick here, and we didn't quite get another wick there. So that's kind of showing even more bid is coming in and more support is coming into the Hex price. And that happened today with this big stack of money that got bridged into the chain. It looked like Hex was one of the things that was getting bought up. But yeah, that next level to watch for is about 2.8 cents ish. That's a weekly resistance. If we can get above that and start creating price structure up above the, let's say 2.8 cents, I'd be confident that the bull market is actually setting in for real. And then it's not that far of a shot to 10 cents on a log chart. So we'll see how it happens. I believe that in this next phase, we're going to create a new range between 2.5 to 10 cents. And I'm excited for that and for everyone involved. And it's been a long time coming, but Hex is structurally intact and doing really well. And if you look at it on the MACD, it was all in the technicals. Like there was this obvious, similar to Ethereum, giving us, once every 4 years type of movements. This is a weekly chart, so it's not quite as long amount of time, but you have this MACD bull cross that occurred that led into a 7x move for Hex last year in 2024. Here we got it again. So you could see this kind of brewing in advance back in like June and July or early July. You could see this all happening ahead of schedule, and you could have positioned yourself just simply by looking at like a MACD on like a weekly time frame for this asset. So because they're DeFi coins and they trade more pure and there's not as much paper money and leverage in them, the technical indicators work very, very well on like a 3-day or a weekly or even better, like a monthly time frame if it's got enough price data. So I would encourage you all to kind of watch those charts, not all the time, maybe like check them once or twice a week and try to capture these signals early and try to act on them as they come.
I dig it.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for always supporting the conference and for even helping me out prepare for my Brock Pierce interview the other day. You rock.
You too, man. And it was an awesome interview. Congrats again on that. It was fun watch.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You guys.
Yep. So everybody follow Access Live on Twitter and YouTube and wherever he may be. And I'm going to play this banger song again for 45 seconds as we bring up our next two guests, Hexus Danny Dillon and Buck Fiat.
With that being said, let's talk about the highest appreciating asset class today. It's crypto, not stocks and bonds. Boy, this ain't for play. My word plays to educate the children around my way so they can get out the hood. No, I don't want to stay. Education's critical in my life, pivotal. Could have been in jail or dead. Yeah, it's just that simple. But back to investing. Here, take some notes. Never go all in like jumping off a boat. Dollar cost averaging. Google that term so you can keep your shirt on, so you don't get burned. Now there's a risk to all investments. This you should know. You can take yearly profits and get ready to blow.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Matty?
Hi, Matty.
Well, I really appreciate you guys. And there's been at least one time in the past month when you guys did a Twitter space that was not recorded, and I missed it, and I felt the FUD and the FOMO hit me. So I'm really excited to hear your guys' takes on the market and on PulseChain here for the next 30 minutes.
Fantastic. And hey, congrats on the nuptials, Matty. That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Super happy for you. Have a bunch of kids. It's really the best thing in life.
Will do.
And yeah, that's just great news. I'm always really happy to see that when that happens to people.
Appreciate it. I'll let you guys take it away.
Great. Thanks, Matty. Hello, Dylan.
What's up, Buck?
Yeah, not too much. So I guess we got, 30 minutes to kind of run through our investment thesis currently?
Yep.
Okay. All
Pretty
right.
much.
Well, where do you want to start, Dylan? We can do this however you want.
Let's talk about the overall macro markets. How about that?
Top down?
No.
Yes.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that means. Top down. Yeah. So we'll do top down macro, and then we'll go bottom up. So just quickly top down. I think bond markets are actually kind of expensive at the moment. So, meaning that I think rate cuts are already fully priced. I don't see a lot of upside there necessarily, but I do think we're in kind of a pretty good space still. Nothing's really worrying me too much. I think inflation is contained for the most part. I know we had the kind of bad PPI numbers the other day, but that's okay. You'll get some of that. And I think the Fed has plenty of room to go ahead and do the cuts, but as I said, the market's already pricing that in. We're looking at a 12-month period where I think you're going to see Trump basically lobby very hard to the Fed to get them to ease. He wants to win the next midterm, otherwise his presidency is functionally over. So he needs to basically run the market as hot as possible, fiscally speaking. So he got the big, beautiful bill through. I imagine we're going to see market structure stuff as well come through. All of this is, reasonably bullish for crypto. It's a pretty good setup still. So I feel pretty okay about all that. The caveat there is that I do think there's a risk that Trump's going to lose midterms, and I think crypto could take that in a very bad way if that starts to happen. So, I've got kind of a macro window that gets us out into kind of, end of Q1 next year, where I don't think crypto is going to be too worried about midterms yet. But I think if you're looking at about 12 months from now, I think we're going to be very worried about that. That's kind of one little bit of egg timer that, I'm kind of setting for myself is, maybe I don't want to be super risk on crypto. I think longer term, things are pretty good. We're not going to enact, austerity via, Elon Musk's Doge program. The government's still going to spend, and that's clearly happening. Wall Street TradFi, they see an opportunity to make money here. So that's great. It's normalizing crypto in a big way. So the odds of us getting some sort of Liz Warren molded or Sherrod Brown molded anti-crypto warrior coming in, in the White House in the future are pretty low for now, I'd say. So I'm not super worried about that, but I think crypto's got a pretty bright future long term. Then coming down a little bit more specifically to heading towards PulseChain. I think the community massively underestimates the importance of ETH price. And I know some of you in the comments will probably be saying, fuck ETH, we don't need ETH. But we can agree to disagree on that point. As a fork of Ethereum, I think we are pretty strong beta to Ethereum. I was listening to the Bankless podcast yesterday, and one of the guys asked the other guy, "What's good beta to Ethereum? Like, what's a higher volatility, Ethereum play?" And he started kind of guessing at a bunch of things like Aave, et cetera. But it's like the most obvious one is PulseChain, buddy. So yeah, that it's we're literally a pure fork of Ethereum. And if you can disagree with me, but you may notice that Richard Hart seems to talk a lot about Ethereum, how to make it better, what can happen with it, why it's a superior blockchain. You don't see him talking a lot about Solana or Sui or anything. When he does talk about Bitcoin, it's usually not particularly nice. I think he even says something like, "I really love Ethereum. Like, you should give all the Ethereum to me." So Richard seems to care about Ethereum price a lot. So take what you will from that. If you disagree with me, maybe you can wonder why the boss seems to continue to talk about that a lot. So where does that leave us? Ethereum is in a very good trend at the moment. It bounced off of a very long-term low against Bitcoin and is heading back to where I think it should be, given the movements of Bitcoin and the rest of cryptocurrency. Obviously, it kind of fell victim to a kind of organized FUD scheme when Solana was pumping earlier this year, and they got all the culls to basically shout from the rooftop that Ethereum's dead and Solana's taking over. But that failed to actually happen. And now Wall Street is coming in, and they can't build if they want to do smart contracts, they can't do it on Bitcoin. So the next best thing is Ethereum. So you're seeing a lot of interest crop up, and in the form of these two, I guess they call them DTAs or DATs. Sorry. So you got Lubin's SBET, and you've got Tom Lee's Bitmine. I think the
treasury companies. Yeah.
I think these things are really super price positive. They're giving people a lot of confidence. They've been buying as much as possible. They've got grandiose plans to buy 5 or 10% of Ethereum over time, which means they need to keep going for the foreseeable future if they can. So this is really given Ethereum a real shot in the arm. And
by the way, the Bitcoin treasury companies, they've almost accumulated 5% of the Bitcoin supply. I think they're at 4.75% of the Bitcoin supply. So
yeah, well, they're different in how they're doing it. So it's an open question. It's one I've been discussing a lot with my partners. Is how are they doing it, and how long can they do it? Michael Saylor's done this through debt. These guys have been doing it through equity. So it's not clear to me if they've got necessarily the same depth that Saylor was able to get to continue to raise. I'm unsure, but I do believe that they're in an arms race against each other to basically be the biggest between the two of them, because you don't want to be second fiddle.
Who knows the fucking second place guy? Like, come on.
No one likes that, right? So Eras was pointing out to me that SBET's already trading at a discount. So Tom Lee appears to be winning that battle. Tom Lee's got some big backers in the TradFi world. He's got Peter Thiel. He's got Bill Miller. He's got Stan Druckenmiller. He's got Kathy Wood. Those people have some money. They've got lots of connections. So I think that's super interesting. But why do you guys care about Ethereum? Well, because I think that basically we won't really see a proper bull market in PulseChain until Ethereum really properly breaks out, above its prior all-time highs, which is around, I think, 4,900. So we're basically right now just recovering to where we should be in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin is 118K or so today. Up from prior market all-time highs around 60 something. Ethereum's still below last bull market all-time high, and it's really only just reaching that there. So you would think that Ethereum should run to I would say somewhere between 6 to 8K just to catch up. It might not get that high, but I'm just saying from a rough back of the envelope estimate. I don't do TA magic like Axis does. But you know, just to kind of get to a position where Ethereum is more or less relatively valued comparably to Bitcoin as it's been long term. You know, it should really be trading kind of much higher than it is today. So what does that mean? So I think if SBET and Bitmine are able to continue buying, you know, that's going to give people the confidence. There's a strong momentum trade here, even though, you know, they're testing it the past couple days, and there's always going to be people selling along the way as it goes higher. That's normal. But you know, I imagine Ethereum is going to be much higher in the next kind of 3 months than it is today, and I think, you know, that's very positive news for PulseChain and other EVMs. It's very positive news for whoever owns the SAC funds. It's very positive news for the PulseChain community, in as far as, you know, many of us have large Ethereum positions, right? And we're going to be looking to rotate into alts, just as the rest of the market will look to rotate into alts as Ethereum gets smashes through 5K. There's gonna be at some point a rotation into alts, because that's what usually ends up happening when Ethereum really does exceptionally well. People start to look for higher beta plays in the alt space. We're one of those. So I think this is a pretty solid setup for PulseChain. Now getting more bottom up. I've been sort of saying, you know, I think Richard is waiting for Ethereum to do well. It's very hard to go out there and persuade anybody about anything when the market is down. I've been an investment professional for 20 years, and I can tell you that, you know, only the most astute people want to talk to you when your numbers are terrible, right? And everybody wants to fucking have a beer with you and brag when things are good, right? It's very hard to promote anything when numbers are terrible. So right now we've had basically terrible numbers since the inception of PulseChain, and Ethereum has been pretty terrible since December, right? So on a relative value versus everything else. So, you know, you're looking at almost an impossible situation to market, right? Additionally, we obviously have the SEC thing, which is now out of the way. We still have the Finland tax thing, but I think you're seeing more and more openness from Richard, more and more activity from Richard. You know, talks about promotion. And I'm predicting that you're going to see a lot more activity from him, provided that this trend in Ethereum going up continues.
Well, don't you know, Buck, that he's shipping a container as we speak to America to be delivering mass mailers that are electronic.
That's a good example of what I mean. You know, I don't know what that does. You know, I'll let the experts think about that, but it's indicative of somebody who thinks that their moment to really you know, push things is coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's about right. You know, I don't really see any reason why the broader market cycle needs to end, you know, anytime soon necessarily. But, you know, I think if you try to empathize with RH and you put yourself in his shoes, you're looking at this and going, we're obviously kind of at some point entering late cycle. You know, Bitcoin smashed through all-time highs and pretty much doubled it, right? You know, and now it's sort of at this point where it's kind of still grinding upwards, but not really in a way that's that impressive, right? Now you have Ethereum coming, and the next step will be alts. It's just sort of the same sequence that we've seen the last few cycles. So I imagine that, you know, if you're going to come make a big splash, and you want to come out to a little bit of fanfare, being able to brag about some stuff, this is the kind of setup that we see. So long story short, I think on the proviso that Ethereum continues to get pushed up by Tom Lee and these other guys, we're going to head into an alt season. You're going to see pretty big price appreciation in alts, including PulseChain and other RH tokens. And I think you're going to see Richard Hart a lot more accessible, a lot more out in front, would be my guess, because you don't really want to have to wait another 4 years, right, to kind of market again. We might have 12 months here. I think that's being generous, right?
Pretty generous.
But I think we definitely have 6 months, right, to really push PulseChain's agenda and its growth. So I do think we're going to see a lot more activity from Richard. We're really just waiting for that. So I don't know how we're doing for time, Dylan, but that I think that's pretty much my view on how things are at the moment. Anything I'm missing?
Well, I mean, current news today was the bridge was pretty active. I don't know if you saw, I tagged you, but I think
I did see that.
$5 million came up with bridge today.
Yeah, I don't look. That's not that much money, but
no, but with the liquidity the way it is now, it's very meaningful.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's meaningful, yeah, and it could be a lot more meaningful in the future. And I think if people see that and they start to believe, much as you're seeing with these treasury companies, you can think of those flows as basically something very similar. They will give the community confidence because they will know there's probably more coming behind it, right? And that in itself can be this sort of amplifying thing where guys like me and others are going to say, well, if I have confidence that Richard's going to come back in and be the man again, I want to put some money to work in PulseChain before that happens, right? Or even when that happens, right? I think the biggest problem we have is that people haven't been sure that PulseChain is a going concern, right? They don't really know where we stand, right? And so just sort of alleviating that concern and letting people know that there's a whole bunch of us on the sidelines and a whole bunch of us that have made a lot of money this cycle already, right? If we're invested in Bitcoin or Solana or even Ethereum, right? We're going to be looking for places to that haven't run yet, right? And I think it's fair to say PulseChain hasn't really run yet.
No.
Well, we've come off the bottom a bit here. We haven't had our moment in the sun, right? We're not on any big exchanges. There's plenty of room for PulseChain to go up, right? I don't know how much more XRP can go up. Like the move up in XRP is already pretty impressive. Yeah. Right. Might be kind of hard.
But didn't you know XRP is going to like $100, Buck? Like,
yeah, I mean
that's all the Tom, Dick, and Harry's that like, oh man, you should try crypto, bro. I got XRP, man. It's going to $1,000. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, XRP's done great so far. Like it's above its 2017 absurd high. Like
but can it do a 10x again?
I never thought it would get there. Honestly, I never thought it would get there. No, I never thought XRP would ever recover.
To be honest,
yeah. And it did. Their founders did a great job of lobbying Mar-a-lago and
playing the game.
They played the game really well. Yeah. But that's pretty much all she wrote for those guys. I mean, they're already kind of priced for perfection, right?
True.
They could still go up. They could still go up, but like it's not. They're not going to rip your eyeballs off, and I don't think that's going to happen with Solana or Ethereum either, right? They can go up quite a bit, right? Numbers that would be attractive to people investing in bonds or like lower risk things, like the S&P 500. But they're not super attractive to crypto degens. So I think we have maybe one of the best overlooked degen plays, and it's only a matter of time before people discover that. And yeah, really the only thing that we don't have control of here is ETH price. That's it. Like we need a proper breakout in Ethereum above all prior all-time high. So that's what I'm looking out for, guys. We can maybe do it without it, but it just won't be as spectacular. But I think price appreciation in PulseChain 10x, 20x, it's possible, right? Like that's pretty good. I know some of you want more than that because maybe you're pretty broke and you're hoping to get a lottery ticket. But for grown-ups, a 10 or a 20x is great. That's
a winner in my book.
That's exciting to me, super exciting. And I think there's a proper investable thesis here. And caveat there, things can go up more than that, a lot more than that. But they're probably not sustainable.
Did you imagine Hex ever going to 50 cents or 55 cents?
Yeah, but it wasn't sustainable, right?
No.
Like it did do that, but it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. We weren't able to sustain that, and we dropped 99% or whatever. Once the tide went out on that. But we could sustain a 10x here pretty easily. Like we're worth much less than lots of blockchains.
Yeah. I mean, you even said price for perfection. We're nowhere close to that at all.
No, we're priced for
horrible death.
we're priced for Popeyes. This is not perfection whatsoever. But yeah, what do we still have? We still have I think the best community in crypto. Even our haters will say that about us. We still run these conferences, and I'm always happy to participate in them. Thank you to Maddie for always running these things. We're all still here. We're all still interested, and I think watch the next 6 months. I think we'll probably have another conference in February. I think we'll be talking about some hilarious war stories about holy shit, look what happened. Right. Hopefully the bull market hasn't ended by then, but and we're still happy. But I think at the very least, I'm pretty certain that I won't be here in 6 months telling you guys, well, nothing happened, and we've just been waiting, right? Which is kind of what has been happening for the last 2 years. 2 years, really. I'm pretty confident that something interesting is coming here. And I think the market's already sensing it. You can see Hex is well off its lows. It's pretty much 2x, right?
It's more than that. It's 3x off the lows.
Is it that much? Wow.
Yeah, it was at a fourth of a penny. Now it's at 1.2 cents. So 3x off the lows.
Cool. All right, how much more time do we have, Dylan?
I don't know.
Is that it?
I think we got 4 minutes left. But let's go over the fat signals. What fat signal are you looking for? And for those who don't know what a fat signal is, what is a fat signal?
Yeah, so kind of like in Batman, they had the bat signal where Commissioner Gordon would put the spotlight up in the sky and say, Batman, come and save us. I'm saying look for the fat signal. Fat signal is basically anything that's going to basically show us that Richard is there and working in the background, and that he's going to come and basically rescue Gotham. I think upticks in his activity, like direct calls to action to the community to do certain things, for marketing. And then this goes all the way up to CEX listings, YouTube appearances, things like that. I think all of that is potentially coming. And I think really the only thing that we need to have happen is we need that ETH bull market, because like no one wants to come out and get yelled at and made fun of by the YouTubers about, oh, PulseChain's been really disappointing, right? You just know someone with a big ego is not going to show up to that, right? But they will show up when things start to go good, when they can show up and people can say, well, recently PulseChain's been doing really well, right? And I think that's if you're going to pick your time, and I'm sure Richard already thinks about it this way, but if he doesn't, Richard, your time is coming here, buddy. ETH above 5K. It's time to it's time to come out and of your shell and do your thing, man. And I really hope you do. Let's look at the comments here. Now's your chance to insult us before we're kicked off stage.
I was asking why I'm not wearing more Gucci earlier.
These people have actually been very nice. Normally, there's like always like one guy like insulting me.
Oh, they probably ban all those guys. Like, come on.
All right. I can't see Buck, nor will you. That's a good comment. The Raging Bulls are coming. Okay, sounds good to me. Not going anywhere. We'll never leave this ecosystem. Pookie, I do. There you go. I mean, we have, think about crypto as a religion in a way, right? It's about evangelizing and bringing more people in, but also, like, how sticky is this thing? I don't really care about the XLM community that much, even though I've been in XLM since like the beginning, right? I don't know anything about that community, right?
No, you got 5,555 reasons to stick around. Okay.
Damn. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, this community, for whatever reason, resonates with a lot of people who don't seem to have anything else to do, right? They're still here, right? So I think that's a very powerful thing. What else do we have in the comments? Oh, Maddie's back.
Somebody asked when I'm going to settle down. Guys, I'm in a very loving relationship right now. I'm very settled down. Like, come on.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey, well, we really appreciate you guys. You always have awesome macro insights and speak the truth. So really appreciate it. And Fiat sponsored the Hex conference back in January, and that's still greatly appreciated. Coming up here, January 6th through 9th will be the 6th annual hexconference.com. And so that'll be the next one to look out for.
Wow.
As we wrap up your guys' segment, is there anything that you guys see that the community is doing that you think could be done more in order to bring in whales?
I think get on some CXs, guys. That'd be useful.
I personally just started reaching out to old guys that used to be in the community that left, that are well off. So I just started reaching out to guys like that, being like, hey, like, especially after today,
right?
There's a reason to come back. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I started doing that. But if they come back, if they don't, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, I think tell your friends about the the potential opportunity here. If they're in Ethereum and they're on this trade, they should understand it. Yeah. Anybody who's on the ETH trade needs to understand that there's going to be an alt trade and an alt season trade that follows it. So this is a quote unquote hidden gem. And shout out to this is the worst comment anybody's ever given me. Shout out to this guy, Free Roam. Buck is just your friend saw me light. That hurt.
Okay, buddy.
I've never been accused of that before. But that one stings, man. Thank you.
Well, we saw at the end of the Hex conference a little bit over a year ago. We saw the biggest green candle in PulseChain history. probably because it coincided with Richard Hart showing his cards when it comes to his SEC lawyers. But that $5 million moving over the bridge today from what is
We don't know where from,
private
Maddie.
source, some private source that can't be seen on the blockchain. That that really got me thinking, because what it took, basically it went in between January 9th of 2024 till the top of Bitcoin there last year, when PulseChain did its big run. And so yeah, I'm like optimistic that we're going to see something here eventually. So thanks again to you two. I always love to hear your commentary, and so keep up the Twitter Spaces, and really, really appreciate you guys always coming on the conference.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie. We'll be back for the Hex conference for sure. See you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Next up, we have Jexa after this musical interlude. Thanks.
Insane staking on ETH and Post. We on 2 chains. Other coins didn't fit. What was I supposed to do? Not stake and stay broke with you? Shit. Bought Hex for 4 years. Try to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX. Try to DCA. Now the world gon' see. Rich already changed the game. Which is why the hell you see me DCA and in the PulseChain. Bought Hex for 4 years. Try to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX. Try to DCA. Now the world gon' see. Things will never be the same. Ever since we launched our own thing on our own chain. Bought Hex for 4 years. Try to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX. Try to DCA. Now the world gon' see. Rich already changed the game, which is why the hell you see me DCA and in the PulseChain. Bought Hex for 4 years. Try to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX. Try to DCA. Now the world gon' see. Things will never be the same. Ever since we launched our own thing on our own chain. You other Sammy Chicas need to get your crypto coffee to wake up and out of ditches, so you go from rags to riches.
Hey there, Jexa.
Hey, how are you, Maddie?
Awesome. Really pleased to have you on the conference here. And what's your topic going to be about?
Yeah, so I'm going to try and break down validators in 10 minutes. So we'll see how we go with that. That's obviously a pretty big topic, but if I can give people just a little bit of insight to what some of the people behind the scenes do for PulseChain and how they may be able to get involved, that would be 10 minutes well spent, I think.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, we're only running 4 minutes behind schedule, so let's give you your full 10 minutes here to do a presentation. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, mate. Cool. You got the shared screen up. Awesome. Okay, guys. So validating in 10 minutes on PulseChain. Let's see how we go with this. Okay, so what is a validator? So you probably interact with the PulseChain nodes more than what you would sort of get a feel for validators. So when you use something like Internet Money Wallet and you go and configure an RPC setting or Rabby or whatever you're using, that's probably how you sort of know when you're interacting with a node, is when you send a transaction, you're sending it off to this RPC address and something's happening in the background. So PulseChain validators are running those same nodes, but we also run an additional client called a validator client. So on PulseChain at the moment, there is about 52,000 validators that are running and securing the network. There's a whole group of people behind the scenes that are doing all this work, and that's what actually keeps the chain running. Okay, let's just sort of jump through a bit quicker than what I wanted it to. Let's go back there. Okay, so staking on PulseChain, let's have a look how that works for someone running a validator. If you want to secure the network, you need to stump up 32 million Pulse. So that is the proof of stake concept that we use on PulseChain, inherited from Ethereum. But you also need to know how to run those 3 clients that I spoke about, the validator software. So you've got to have a bit of expertise in how to do that. You also need to know how to run or manage the hardware side of things there. So there's a little bit of technical knowledge that's involved. And you've obviously got to keep an eye on the health of those nodes to make sure that the chain runs smoothly. So there's a few components you need to be or bring to be a validator. But in return for that, you get rewards that are produced by the actual chain. We'll talk about that now. So let's have a look at the 2 main types of rewards we get from being a validator. So the first one is literally what we call rewards, and these are very consistent, quite predictable. The yield, which is circa 9%, is based on how many total validators there are in the network. So the more validators, obviously the lower the yield. So Ethereum, same sort of system, gets about 2 to 3% yield. On Pulse, we're getting around 9% on the reward side of things at the moment. And that's for doing all the what we call attestations and organizing the groups of validators to come together and coordinate the consensus of the protocol. So agree on what is the actual truth. So that's pretty regular and just ticks through every 5 minutes. You see the rewards ticking through. The second type of rewards are more sort of fee-based. So I mentioned if you're using internet money and you're sending a transaction, what you probably see that as is you're paying a gas fee. So you're paying a certain amount of Pulse to process a transaction on the network, and you're paying a priority fee. And if you're lucky enough to be the validator who produces the block, you get some of those fees. So that can be quite lucrative sometimes. If we've heard of validators earning their whole yield in one block production that they'd normally get in a year, just by being the lucky validator that got to produce that block that had those fees in it. So on average, if you're taking the rewards and the fees, PulseChain's probably paying out anywhere sort of between 12 to 14% currently. So as more activity picks up and the blocks get busier, more fees are produced. But it doesn't come without risk. So if you're running a validator, like I said, you need to know how to operate the software. You need to keep it healthy. If you don't keep it healthy, instead of getting the rewards, you get penalized those rewards. If you do something really silly, you can do something called slashing and actually lose some of your stake. So you've got to be quite careful when you're doing the validator side of things. Don't just come into it blindly, understand what you're getting into, but it can be quite lucrative and it's very rewarding to know that you're providing the security on the network. Let's have a look at staking options on PulseChain. So we can do what's called self-staking, and that is, like I showed you before, you're bringing your 32 million Pulse, you're bringing the technical ability to run a validator. You've got to stump up for the hardware costs or run a VPS, a virtual private server. So there's capital costs included that you need to bring as part of that as well. So the cost of your Pulse, the cost of the hardware. And if you're going to do that, I reckon you need to be running at least 20 validators to make that viable, to offset the costs of running the hardware and to actually make a good yield out of that. If you're interested in doing that, I just want to give a shout out to a few unsung heroes. So DipSlayer has got an awesome GitHub repository you can go to and basically steps you through the process of running your own validator. So if that's something you're interested in doing, that is a great place to start. And there's also a lot of people in the DevPulse Telegram group that are willing to help. It's an awesome community in there. So outside of self-staking, what can you do? So you want to be part of staking, but you're not too sure about running the validator. You can go to outsource staking. Once again, you need to bring your 32 million Pulse per validator. But rather than having the technical ability to run the node, you could potentially outsource that to someone who does have that skill. So you're still stumping up dollars for either the hardware to have them host it for you or to pay for what we call software as a service. But you're not having to do the technical work. Obviously, there's a fee required to pay someone for their technical services that they're doing. So if you're going to take that path, I think running maybe 30 validators makes that economically viable. If you're interested in that approach, then David Feeder running Validator Store is probably the place you want to go for that. If you want to, he sells the full hardware kit, so you can use that for the self-staking as well, or he offers the outsource staking. So once again, that's one option you've got. And the other one is liquid staking. Obviously, I'm pretty keen on the liquid staking stuff, being part of the Vouch protocol. And with liquid staking, you don't need to have the technical ability to run the validator, and you don't need 32 million Pulse either. You can bring as little as 10,000 Pulse, stake that, and then in the background, a bunch of validators will come in and work together to engage those staked Pulse and put them to work validating. So in this instance, you retain liquidity of your Pulse because you get given a liquid staking token. In the liquid staking, in particular with Vouch, you can join as a validator. So the skills you pick up in being a self-staker, you could actually bring to the Vouch protocol and run a validator on the network, or you can join simply as a staker. And if you're coming in as a staker, no hardware requirements. So liquid staking. So if you wanted to have a look at being part of Vouch and using the liquid staking. So if you're a Pulse holder, you can put your, what I'm calling lazy Pulse. So if you've got a bit of Pulse sitting around in your wallet that you want to do something more active with, but don't want to put it in liquidity providing because of impermanent loss or anything like that, maybe this is something you can look at. You don't need the technical skills because you are participating in the liquid staking protocol. You get the liquid staking token in your wallet, so that's good. You can still engage that in other protocols should you wish. And the average, the APR at the moment is around 15%. Like I said, varies based on how many validators are in the ecosystem and how active the chain is and how many fees are getting paid on the chain at that particular point in time. So that's as a staker. You can also join as a validator. So why would you do that? Well, you get to help secure the PulseChain network. So either as a solo staker or being part of Vouch, you're doing the same duties. You're running a validator, securing the network. You get an extra 5% bonus on the rewards because you're doing the work for the other Pulse stakers. So for that, you get a little bit of a fee. What's also important is the pooled rewards for block production. So I mentioned every now and then a lucky validator gets a big windfall, produces a block with a really large fee associated to it. If you're not the recipient of that fee, you miss out. But if you're in a pooled scenario, that is shared between all the validators that are currently running. So that's a nice little win as well. We sort of distribute those priority fees, not only to the PulseChain validators as part of Vaults, but also the stakers. So that's a really good win. And so Vouch is actually about to go through something pretty unique. We've been running as the liquid staking protocol for 12 months, but we're about to shift to phase 2, which is going to allow people to actually own a part of the protocol. So very excited about this. And what you're seeing on the screen is a bit of a sneak peek of our upcoming dashboard that will get released. And I guess where we're heading with this is, if you like to say the tokenomics of something like PTGC or Helgo or something like that, but you like the idea of something like Lido with staking, then Vouch is going to be a bit of a mashup of those two protocols. Obviously no association with any of those, but if you like the token mechanics and you like the liquid staking component, then that's essentially what Vouch is about to become.
Awesome.
In a week or two.
Yeah, this is the super powerful protocol. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks, Matty. Once again, thanks for organising all the conference as well, mate. You do an awesome job.
My pleasure. And where can people go to find out more about this protocol or about your education? Yep.
So vouch.run is the landing page for everything Vouch. There's a QR code on the screen there that you can scan if you want to have a bit of a longer form interview and find out what it's about. Yeah, I'm always around in terms of helping people with security and things like that in a lot of the Telegram groups. So yeah, you'll see me from time to time everywhere.
Awesome. Well, appreciate having you on again. And up next, we have a 10-minute talk from Mike Wills Jr. and Yanko after this 1-minute interlude. Thanks.
Now the world gon' see things will never be the same ever since we launched our own thing on our own chain. Bar Hex for 4 years, trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX, trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see Rich already changed the game, which is why the hell you see me DCAing in the PulseChain. Bar Hex for 4 years, trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX, trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see things will never be the same ever since we launched our own thing on our own chain. Bar Hex for 4 years, trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX, trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see Rich already changed the game, which is why the hell you see me DCAing in the PulseChain. Bar Hex for 4 years, trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX, trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see things will never be the same ever since we launched our own thing on our own chain. Bar Hex for 4 years, trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX, trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see Rich already changed the game, which is why the hell you see me DCAing in the PulseChain. Bar Hex for 4 years, trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX, trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see things will never be the same ever since we launched our own thing on our own chain.
Welcome back, gentlemen.
How's it going, Maddie?
Great.
Hey, Matty.
Hey. You guys presented here on the first day of the conference, representing PulseLand, one of the sponsors of the conference. And I want to thank you again for sponsoring the conference. Do you guys have an update for us today in this spot that is going to last another 8 or 9 minutes?
Right. So first, I'd like to thank you for having us. We got a lot of new users playing the game throughout the weekend.
I bet, yeah.
It's even right now there's nothing else to do but explore, but we've had positive feedback. Yanko over the weekend made it his priority to lower memory on the game, and we're working, and he'll speak a little bit about that, to lower memory even more because of the community feedback. We decided that it's more important right now to be able to play the game on your phone than anything else we could be doing.
Great.
So
yeah,
we're very close to that. Yanko, would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So maybe some of you know, some don't, but web browser games, they behave a bit different compared to the regular games when you download them. So there's a limit of the memory usage in the browser. So we had to adjust that, make the game more efficient, so users will be able to play from the phone, because it's a completely different story when you play from the phone and from your computer. So we're progressing good towards that goal. For example, we actually achieved something like the game is much more efficient right now. It's like by the factor of 3. So nearly 300% more efficient, and the memory usage is reduced a lot. So we are almost there, not yet, but there's a good sign, and it shall be available pretty soon, by the way, for mobile phones, including Android and iPhones as well. So that's good. That's good.
Right. And outside of that, using the phone is just one benefit of lowering the memory. The graphics right now are really good, especially if you compare it to a lot of other browser games, but we can make it even better, almost real-like. So the lower we get it, the better. And we'll post examples later on X of what the graphics can be if we do what we're supposed to do.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like it's evolving rapidly. And the mobile version, does that allow people to join through their browser or at the current time, or is it a standalone app?
Nope, you join through your browser at play.pulseland.io. That's play.pulseland.io. And you could just go and explore right now. We had gift boxes throughout the island, and all 10 gift boxes have been found. Everybody will be getting $20 worth of Pulse. And tonight, if you'd like, we'd like to gift $100 worth of the PLand token for you to give away if you'd like, Maddie. Or
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, the audience always loves a good giveaway.
Sure they do,
right? As you may have seen, we've been giving away tokens from Pateus, and so yeah, this is totally in line. What do you guys want to be the keyword that people type into the chat? Is something simple that they can type in order to be entered into the giveaway?
Yanko, you have a word, or we could just use game. We could say game or something simple like that. Since we're talking about the token, actually, a lot of people are asking us, what is the token for? What's the use of it? And right now, we don't really have a use for the token, right? We did that strategically because we wanted to hear what the community thinks. This is a community game, and we've been improving the game even from Friday based on what the community thinks. Originally, and still, our idea for the token is to use the revenue to buy and burn the token. And we're going to continue that. But if there are other things we could use it for, we are open to it, to hearing it.
Awesome. Well, the word is game, so go ahead and type game into the chat if you want to be entered into this $100 giveaway. And we've already got lots of people entering. Perfect. Yeah, I love how you guys are creating this token as a utility. I think we said the other day, like it's the opposite of a property tax. If people are getting paid for owning the property there, that's fun a fun way to think about it.
Right. And we also didn't want a utility where you're getting the PLAN token, because we've seen cases where you're getting that token and what are they going to do with it? Just dump it. So we're trying to build a healthy ecosystem with a healthy token. We started off the right way, pumped our tires. Our tokens are locked up
Nice.
for 5 years, vested quarterly. Our first, I forgot how many tokens it is coming out in about a couple months, and watch what we do with it. That's all I have to say.
Awesome. Yeah, doing it the right way. Love it.
And at the same time, we're gonna be having those mini games, which should be ready in a couple of days. That includes maybe all of you know the Squid Games, so it's very similar. It's inspired by the Squid Games, but it's gonna be called Pools Games. So usually the first one, it will be free to entry, but from then you're gonna get to have a ticket. So you buy the ticket, of course, not with PLAN because we don't want to drop it on the market, but you buy it with pools, and that pools will be used to buy back and burn the PLAN token. So that's gonna make it more scarce and deflationary actually at the same time. So here again, we could use the PLAN for rewards, but we don't want the token to be dropped on the market. So I think that's a good approach. Yeah.
Smart. Yeah.
For those who read our article, which is on Medium and also pinned on our X page, that's PulseLand, at PulseLand, you'll see that we mentioned going to other blockchains, right? So if we do that, which we have plans on doing that, PulseLand will be the capital of the world that we're building. And anything that we do over there will come back over here. So let's just, that's all I got to say about that until we actually put it out.
Yep. The whole idea is even if it's going to be a multi-chain, the whole revenue and the capital shall be moved back to the PulseChain, because just like Mike said, PulseLand is the capital. All right.
And it'll be clear in the game that that's the case.
Yep.
Very good.
And also, we're going to be having the lottery coming out in the next few days, which again, you'll be able to participate with Pulse tokens, and randomly generated number is going to pick the winner, provide the rewards, and of course a small percentage will be used, again, you can guess for what, buying back and burning the token, the PLAN. So that's a great one. It's going to last for 7 days each draw, but more details we're going to be releasing in the next couple of days. We have plans to have all those features, including the Squid Games, the mobile support, the lottery, in the next few days, probably by the end of next week. We don't want to give a specific date, could be earlier, but the plan is to be by the end of the next week.
And
moves.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to enter it in the chat. Rachel kindly told us that we could watch the comments in the chat. We're newbies to this, so we didn't even know last time that the chat was probably going crazy, and we didn't see any of it. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask.
Absolutely. Yeah. And let's go ahead and do this giveaway now for people who have typed in the word game into the live stream chat. I'm going to share my screen here so we make it a fair giveaway. And here we go. Crypto Priest, you are the winner. So go ahead and DM me, MATI, all in on X, and I will forward your address onto these guys so that they can distribute the tokens accordingly.
Thanks for playing. And, just a quick update. Tonight, tomorrow, we're going to be doing the application for CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko. So hopefully we can get on there. We'll do our best to get on there. Obviously it takes time, but we're getting that question a lot, so we're working on it.
Very cool. Yeah. And just a programming note that Jexa did make it onto the next panel that we have up. So if he's still listening, make sure to rejoin so we can get the next panel loaded up here. Jexa, calling Jexa to the stage. And anything else that that you guys want to say before we wrap it up here?
No, I think we're good. I think I addressed the most common questions that we received since our last talk. Now, can you think of anything else? The houses. Yes, everything will be NFTs. Sorry to cut you off. Everything will be NFTs. Right now, we're working with. Right now, we're working to figure out which NFT platform we're going to be using, or whether we're going to be creating our own. So that's the hang up right now. So we're talking with two of the major ones on PulseChain, and figuring out which one is the best for what we're looking for.
Yeah. So just to wrap it up, basically every asset in the game will be tokenized, meaning it's gonna be an NFT or integrated in some Web3 smart contract. So whenever you join with your wallet, everything you own in the game, it's only yours. You can sell it. So it's like in the real world, you're gonna have a home if you like. You can have skins, avatars, different assets, of course. And we're also in touch with a guy who is doing pretty cool 3D models. So the plan is to make something like once you buy a land in the future, you'll be able to drop any kind of structure you want, of course. But that's planned for the long term, of course. But the whole idea is that users build the whole world and they design it, they dictate the future, and they just vote on what's next, what game, what feature, and yeah, that's pretty much.
I dig it. Yeah, I thank you guys so much. Everybody go follow PulseLand on X and visit PulseLand.io, and specifically play.pulseland.io in order to check out this amazing game. And thanks again to you guys for sponsoring the conference.
Thanks again for having us. Well, I'll talk
Thanks
to you all
for
soon.
having us.
My pleasure. And now we're going to have a 1-minute musical interlude before we bring up our next panel, including Hod Pearl and Fast Abdul.
Bitches, see a brainologist and a fashion coder. Get your crypto heartbeat up before it's over. Check my post. Stop by Kaiser. Stay bull run ready. Nini's not tired. And on the corner of Westcott needs yes. Saw a picture of Rich in Georgia in a wedding dress. Yes. Hard Pearl and Class T fools. Met a pirate. Johnny's chaos broke loose. Heard a hex siren and SJ appeared. But I saw whales only, no dolphins on the pier. Cosmic Cowboys saw the street it was on. When Whitney did her magic and Toby Wan's Padawan. Wore a couple shirts while waving goodbye that said RH Max and Access was alive. Then I met Corey, a big time investor. Met another Corey, intellectual impressor. Robbie got me hyped, now we dance carefree. And Julie got her dress on with Lindsay and Marie. It's compassion in crypto. Ask Black KC, Forrest, Robert, Quinn, or David Lee. Sandy Beach sounds good. A Black Mexican winning like some Mexican or DJ from Polygon. Hex for 4 years. Trying to DCA. Got PulseChain, PulseX. Trying to DCA. Now the world gon' see. Rich already changed the game. Which is why the hell you see me DCAing in the PulseChain. Hex for 4 years. Trying to DCA.
What's up?
Hey guys, I see you brought your
Hod Pearl, you're muted.
The mute has ended.
All right.
No more mutes.
Are you? Can you? There we go. Can you replay the ukulele sound?
We'll see if I can. Ooh, it's out of tune a little bit. Yeah. PulseChain's going up. PulseChain's going up.
Do you remember the first Hex song that was ever created that was like a ukulele type thing?
Was it a ukulele thing? There's been a few of the songs. I mean, I haven't written a Hex song yet, but yeah, I know Jesse had some songs, and then hey, what's going on?
Hey, it's been quite a while there. I haven't spoken to you for a long time. Hod Pearl.
I know. I'm still alive.
Are we all?
This is going to be another amazing panel. We got 4 heavy hitters joining us, amazing community members. We've got Fast Abdul, Hod Pearl, Jexa, and Big Kurkowski is just fixing his audio here. So really looking forward to you guys taking it until the top of the hour. and discussing anything you find relevant in Hex and PulseChain. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matty.
Thanks, Matty.
Do it. That was a lovely song, Hot Drill. Thanks for that.
Oh yeah,
We'll be
I'm
able to
sure.
pump that one.
Hey, we're pumping, guys. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, we are. The numbers are looking good today.
So everyone's turned it on for the PulseChain conference, which is good.
Yeah.
It's up.
Yeah, last day of the conference. It's nice to see a pump. It's nice to see
MLS is
that
pumped.
$5 million that bridged onto chain as well.
5 million? Really?
5 million.
Holy
what I
cow!
heard.
That's a lot more than. I believe you, because it was just a couple million. Wow, it's going up, man. People are. It's like exponentially growing. People are coming in. Pretty cool.
I've heard that it's funds that have gone through like Tornado Cash and stuff. So it's like hidden origin funds have bridged the PulseChain. What for?
Hello.
Hey, Big K.
I made it.
Hey, BK.
Hey, how's
it's been
it going?
quite a while.
It's been a while. It's good to be on with you.
Welcome to the jungle.
I'm ready. I'm ready for all the fun and games.
Ready to rock.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Oh, you brought a uke with you. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I did. I got a bass uke in the corner, and I'm just going. I'm learning the chords. Figure PulseChain Conference is a nice place to practice my chords, because whatever, you know what I mean. Those are pumping up over 70% this month on PLS alone.
Yeah,
So,
we've been moving. It feels
sweet.
awesome.
Pulse
So what's been
X.
up, guys? What are we talking about here tonight?
Well, I'll give us, I guess, a bit of a starter. So I seen a comment on Twitter the other day that said all the OGs have disappeared. No one's around. And I think everyone goes a little bit quiet in the bear market. We've all been a little bit beaten and bruised over the past couple of years, but I think everyone is still kicking around in the background. And speaking for me personally, rather than be out in front of cameras, I've been doing a lot more building. And I know other people on this panel have as well. So there's still a lot of value getting added by people, but they're probably less in front of the camera. So yeah, that's if people are wondering where people have gone, they've probably grown a little bit in their expertise and what they want to add, and we're adding value in different ways, which is not necessarily always on Twitter or in front of the screen.
This is true. Fast over there, you've been a champion all through the bear market. I've seen you all over the place, no matter what the price looks like. Whereas I agree, we do the happy hour show when there's like stuff to talk about, but we talk about every couple of weeks or so. Like, is there nothing to talk about? It's pretty rough. We'll give it another week or two. Same kind of thing.
I always figured it's most important to stream on the bad days. So whenever I have an opportunity and it's a bad day and everybody's sad, those are usually the days that I try to get on the screen for, because it's like, people need that. There's certainly an outreach, like advertising element to streaming, but it's mostly about maintaining community, right?
Yeah, for sure. That is something that, it depends on what you're doing. I like you could, which group of people you're talking to, and most of the stuff, if you're putting a Pulse logo or Hex logo on your stream and you're talking about Hex based, crypto Pulse stuff, then like mostly we're self-reinforcement, trying to educate people that you already know about some new topic that that's coming out or whatever. So, but you're right, a lot of self-reinforcement, which is great. I mean, like, that's super important. I mean, that's why I do like as many live public events as we do. Is I feel like that stuff really, insulates the community real well. So, and I mean, and it goes to show we've done an amazing job, because there's just not that many, that's not that many projects out there that have lasted as long as we have, and has gone through as much as you mentioned, getting beaten around as we have, and still have such a a wide variety of colorful, group of folks that are willing to talk at it. There's literally back-to-back, week-long conferences going on. Here, it's impressive.
Totally.
It's impressive, to say the least. So yeah, lots more to come. I think this is like the time, right? This is like going to be, if you haven't gotten your friends and family and other people involved, this is, you're running out of time.
Yeah, it's getting later in the game, so yeah, you got to make the most of that. In terms of community building. Hodpril, you're always kicking around, rallying the
I'm
troops, aren't
kicking
you?
around, you know what? And I'm staked for a long time, mostly
Mhm.
staked, not selling, being responsible, taking yield when I say I will, right? So that's
Mhm.
the magic of holding. There's a lot less movement when you're a holder, but you just hold and you don't sell much, which is why I'm a big fan of mostly Hex. So it's funny, right? Like whenever I'm on a PulseChain thing, I tend to like try to spread the word of Hex, which is my favorite crypto, right? Whenever I'm on a Hex thing, I try to spread the word of PulseChain because I want people to get into PulseChain, because ultimately it's going to make it easier for them to use Hex, because PulseChain had to be developed because of the throughput issues on the Ethereum chain and whatnot. It needs to be unlocked, but I'm still just a diehard Hex person. You know what I mean? I like the idea. I like the certificate of deposit, my Hex colored hair flower, my pendant of Hex.
I agree with you 1,000%. I'm
Yeah.
diehard Hexican, and
But I mean the entropy kind of not to interrupt, but real quick, the entropy does kind of get more excited with more projects on the chain too, right? I mean, we're not Ethereum or PulseChain. There are separate things that are being used and created and built upon this chain. So it's cool. PulseChain is cool on its by itself. Not to say it's just a superior Ethereum chain, but man, all eyes on Hex. We're here for at least a decade. So
that's right.
That is a feature, not a bug. PulseChain has all the cool stuff from Ethereum just about now, right? Like most of the biggest things on Ethereum are on PulseChain, but it's cheaper to use them. Like we have forks of Balancer, we have 4 forks of Liquidity that are all in the top.
The Liquidity forks. That was quick too. That was developed on here. A lot of people working hard for that. Multiple.
They're actually all in the top 5 for like there's about 40 Liquidity forks in the world, and PulseChain has 4 of the top 5 Liquidity forks are on PulseChain.
Is that
true? Is that right?
That's interesting.
That's cool. Yeah.
Like for total TVL, there's only one Liquidity fork that's higher than Liquid Loans, and underneath Liquid Loans is Earn, Flex, and Ink Printer. So we're killing it on Liquidity forks.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Earn's on there too. Right on.
Yeah, I think that's in a stage where we've obviously seen a bit of downward price action, so the value across the chain looks a lot less, but that can spin on a dime, and we're seeing it today. You see a good uptrend, you get a few days or weeks like that, and the TVL in those protocols will start looking pretty impressive.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a 10x in the TV, like a 10x in the price of Pulse, Ink, PulseX, any of those things will 10x the total value locked in those protocols. And people on other chains will notice, like, oh, what is this biggest Liquidity fork, or like this series of the biggest Liquidity forks? And that'll go for everything else too, like our DEXs, the fork of Aave, Fiat, fork of GMX, Fame. Like we have forks of all the good stuff.
Yeah, they work real well. I mean, I'm somebody who uses several of those products regularly. And I'm impressed with that. That side of things works very well. And it's neat to see as many developer teams as there is working on not just those projects, but everything else that there is. There's quite a bit of teams actively putting out good products. But even though, like I said, X is still my favorite too, but there's been a ton of opportunities. Pulse has been littered with. If you're in the trenches out there, there's lots of green candles. I mean,
we have the best memes too. Like we have creative people here. They just want to have fun because they're there for 15 years anyway. You might as well enjoy yourself and make friends.
This is true.
If you had to take a punt, how many projects do you think have been built out on PulseChain?
I mean, now that's a tough thing, because like if you're talking meme stuff, like hundreds, thousands probably now.
Don't even have to include that.
Okay, so like actual things that are trying to bring some kind of utility, whether it be NFT or otherwise, I'd probably say, I mean, I'm relatively aware of at least 100, you know,
Yep.
so
Yep.
more than that by maybe double, maybe like 200 plus,
At
you know,
least
maybe
three
more.
figures.
Yeah, so Frank White, who's kicking around, I always refer to his little ecosystem snapshot. I think it's PLS start or PL start.
PLS start.me. Yeah.
Yep. Go check that out, guys. If you brought it up on the screen now, you can't even fit all the projects on the screen. Like there's immense amount there. It's a good place to launch off and check out what's going on in the ecosystem. But that is all value that is getting injected into this ecosystem via the community and these projects. And I always say price does not equal value. So value gets built up, particularly in bear markets. It gets built up over a period of time and you don't see it. And you just see price oscillate around value, and it's probably been sitting below value for a little while now. Same thing happens in ETH. And then as we get into the later stages of the market, we see price come up to meet value and then obviously bust through and probably overshoot value. And I don't think we've seen that happen in Ethereum or PulseChain
yet.
But yeah.
It's going to.
We're definitely feeling like we're starting to get in the middle of it. Ethereum. I mean, I'm not sure what fair market value is for that, but I assume it's a little bit higher than where we're at now.
Yeah, I would argue it's quite a bit higher. I think we're sitting at a really beautiful time where, and we've talked about this for a while, where mainstream adoption gets a little bit more close to being real, and everyone ends up with a wallet on their phone or something like that. This is the closest I've ever felt to something like that actually becoming a reality, where the tools are getting out there, and although I don't like so much the involvement of TradFi, the adoption and the awareness side of things is good. And if that's dragging people to be on chain and understand the value of holding things in your own custody, then I think that's a massive win.
I feel like that's all a lot to ask this cycle. But I do feel like we are, and this is, I agree that we're like, it feels really close to whatever that tipping point for mainstream, the regular folks, to like a lot of people to be owning and using crypto in one facet or another. I dare not use things like this time will be different, because I don't, it's not where we're going here. But it does seem like it might, there might be some, unique new twists and turns along the way. I do think that there will be a lot more people playing around with this stuff through the next bear market. Like when we do, because like right now, I don't feel like, that there's retail people are here yet. Like there's just not, in crypto in general, like the mainstream crypto, like the retail customer just has not come back in.
I remember Solana making a huge effort to get the retail people in, including brick and mortar places in some of these malls and stuff. And it was just too early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really was. It was a while back. But it's amazing.
Everything for marketing.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I mean, there have been almost YouTubes before YouTube made it big in the 90s. You know what I mean? It's just timing. But I want to kind of reference Richard Hart's tweet with gold versus Ethereum, where it keeps hitting that resistance. And then it just shoots out and it's uncanny. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'm pretty sure I retweeted that thing out. But if not, it was kind of exciting just to see. I know it's just a chart. It's not everything, but it looked pretty cool. I love charts that look like they're about to break out. Ethereum looks beautiful.
Yeah, speaking of marketing, there you go, Super Hex over there. He's been what's up, sir? You've been straight killing it on the ticks and the talks over there, man. That's it's tough battlefield out there, and you're really crushing it. So it's good to see.
I'm glad someone's willing to take up that challenge, because that's not the place I want to be. So good on him getting out there and doing it.
Lots of people scared of TikTok. But there's a lot. But the kids. Let me tell you where the kids are. That's where they're at. That's where they're hanging. That's where the youths are at. And so,
but do the kids have any money? That's what
their parents do. You just got to get them to talk to their parents.
Okay. Their grandparents do. Their parents ain't got no money. Grandma does.
That could be true. I think we have the massive, never before seen marketing coming. I feel like that's going to be targeting the parents and the grandparents.
Yes, I'm very excited for what's to come.
I think you've got two attack. Yeah, you've got two attacks there you can look at. You've got the grandparents, and I help a lot of people when I'm wearing my other hat. I help a lot of people who are probably a little bit older in the age demographic. They'd be grandparents, and they're not getting into crypto for themselves. They're getting into crypto because they want to leave something for their grandkids, and they don't even care about their own kids. They're thinking of the grandkids, so they want to leave something of value for the next generation. And I think they see it's really funny. There's like this vacant bit in between where you've got these grandparents that are into crypto, and they won't even talk about it with their kids because their kids think they're in some scam. But they're actually more knowledgeable than what their kids are, because the kids haven't had to. They're not at that age where they're trying to think of a legacy for their
I love rabbit hole boomers. You know,
between kids, kids don't care until they hit a certain age, and then money and all that becomes very important. But that's not. So when compounding interest is like on their side, they don't give a shit.
Yep, and I think what we're seeing now is there's this whole alternative asset class which they can get access to, and we're just at the tippy edge of that now. So that's pretty exciting. But from I guess what's after the millennials? What's that? That's the Gen Z guys, isn't it?
Gen Z. Yeah, the Zoomers.
Yeah. So they're at the stage where they need some sort of rocket ship that they can use to build with, because inflation's just slipped away from them. The thought of owning a house is something that's not even close to them. So they need something that's going to give them that extra oomph to actually make their mark on the world. So it just depends how you target your marketing, I think.
This is true. It's they definitely, typical saving methods is not exactly going to get them the house of their dreams in this market.
Yeah. So go the TikToks.
But being an asset class like crypto here, you can see some massive cool things happen for you.
Not to be that dork, but not that people should make a crypto by doing this unless it's a total meme, but this whole vibe coding thing. Now I know developers don't like that term and they think it's stupid, but when it comes to things like marketing and organizing what you're going to do and making charts and figuring out, little games or whatnot. Like if you have N8N or Kiro or like Cursor, anything using Claude, like, or Replit if you're on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a project, and especially if you're already kind of a developer and you know how to do it by hand, like look into that stuff. That can cut a lot of hours. If you're doing something.
So apart from the ukulele, you are actually a coder, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so you
deep
know what you're
down
talking
inside.
about.
Deep down inside, yeah. I've been following this new stuff. Kiro just launched. This isn't a project on PulseChain. This is just Kiro just launched their paid model, so you can make a lot of projects a lot faster, especially simple projects, than you used to be able to do. So if people have a marketing mindset with that, or they want to create something on top of what already exists, look into it. If you have a project, at least you can get a general idea of what you'd want to do, But yeah, look into the whole Replit, Cursor, Kiro, Claude, any Claude, like especially Opus if you're going to be nuts, but Claude, Sonnet 4 just came out, I think. And for any developer.
Have you heard of Goose?
Goose? No.
Go check that. I've just started going down that rabbit hole yesterday.
It's a goose hole. That's a goose hole. Sounds like.
Goose is like an coding agent. So check that out. Apparently that's what all the dudes are using these days.
Neat. I mean, the tech that's coming out to assist you with whether it be marketing or coding or whatever. If it's pretty impressive stuff. Like everybody out there that has, if you have an idea and you have some time on, like it not even whatever, very minimal time, you can already start playing with some stuff, and like you should be. If you haven't jumped on and gotten gotten some ideas out on and seeing what this stuff can do, I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Totally. I think the experienced devs are starting to use AI too as like a backup, right? Like just to make simple tasks faster. So
the debug is great.
Debug stuff, recursive stuff like that, for sure, super helpful. I mean, and you got to check out through everything. It's like nothing's perfect, so. But man, it does the simplicity. It makes things a lot faster for sure. It's gonna be good. I mean,
I like in the audits as a concept. However, you can't just have AI generated protocols with no audits. It's not good.
No, that's the thing, is you still need audits, and then well, that's going to be the next interesting thing that we haven't even really seen a wave of AI meme stuff on Pulse yet. I imagine that's going to be a thing. Like there will be a narrative wave of that we'll get.
Hopefully we'll miss that little bit. That's already happened in a few other chains. And
when they get the pipeline down on how to do it.
Yeah. There's always a narrative.
We got pump tires a little after pump five, so just kick it down a little bit. And a few more months from now, we'll have our AI narrative happen.
Yeah, and I think like at the moment, everyone chucks the AI tag on a project, and it may have nothing to do with bloody AI, but you put the name AI in your project, and everyone they'll chase it. We've seen it every cycle. Every cycle we see a narrative where they'll whack a label on it, and people will follow.
Welcome to PulseChain. They used to think I was AI too, freaking before AI was a big thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, just in general, being on top of technology, whether it's DeFi, and PulseChain's awesome for DeFi because we pretty much have our own almost closed system of DeFi, which almost doesn't make sense to people. Like, well, that means it's centralized, right? No, not really, especially since you can run your own node locally. But being on top of DeFi, being on top of crypto, financial systems, right? And then being on top of AI, I don't understand why you wouldn't. It's crazy to me that people wouldn't be interested in this stuff right now, or they're scared of it. No, AI is bad. You have the same people that are kind of scared of it as that were of Bitcoin when it first came out. Like, man, what a time to be alive. But
AI could be bad. I'm not going to
understand. The thing is, I can understand the fear for it more than I can understand just like not caring at all. Like people that don't give a shit or haven't tried any of it out. Like that to me is hard to like wrap my head around. I can understand fear, like by all means. It's just some of it's wild,
Insane.
As soon as I saw that Will Smith eating spaghetti video for the first time, like way back, a year ago, I was like, oh my god, this stuff's crazy.
And now Midjourney can handle that.
Yeah, now it's way better. Now that they can make it, and now I can actually fool people, but. That wasn't fooling anybody, and it's still like you could just connect a few dots in your head to be like, oh boy, here we go,
So we could use all that for PulseChain too. You know what I mean? Any video you need to make real quick, any UI thing, any website. Hopefully you're a hardcore real dev that knows how to read functions if you're working on anything, and not just vibe coding and praying. But I mean. What a time to be alive. And PulseChain's pumping. Our conference is right when ETH is going up. This is cool, guys.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. I think that'll be the real win for AI and PulseChain. It won't be like AI themed protocols. It'll be, we have so many smart community members who can use this stuff effectively. I've already seen some awesome videos that are 100% AI generated, like AI generated characters, front ends, memes, all this stuff. I think like per capita, we're probably the sharpest chain. I would be confident in saying that.
When Watsa's first came out and there needed to be art for him, we were used like Midjourney 1 for it, and it was back when we weren't sure if we could use the art for NFTs yet because I don't think you could. It was like a legal AI weirdness, but it was good times. Like
I'm still waiting on those monkey pictures, Alex. I mean, for what's up? You know, they're supposed to get monkey pictures. I'm still waiting. Just saying.
Really? Oh, I don't even know, but just I don't know. Been on with PulseChain people for all these years. So many things have happened.
I've got a feeling there's something happening with the ICOSA. I don't like Alex goes very quiet for very long periods of time and then just pops up out of nowhere with a bit of a surprise. So, waiting patiently to see what.
ICOSA 2.0 would be cool. I really hope he does it.
He's in the beast lab.
I get the feeling he'll do it at the at a optimum moment in time. I feel like. I get the same feeling, that you got, Sarah. That you might have something ready for us. Just wait.
What is he leaving in his web?
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't need to be in the spotlight and being on stream. He just he loves coding stuff, and hopefully he's got something special coming.
I do know for sure that he's not going to do it quicker because we asked him to. I've tried.
No, that's true.
He doesn't care. He's going to do it. He'll release it when it's done. That's it.
I'd rather things be done right than quickly. So, that's the Hod Pro way. You can wait a while. You got some patience. You hodl. You can hold your wits.
Well, and stuff like that. Everyone thinks is like so. Like everyone wants it now, but it's people are only going to remember it if it works and actually is useful. Otherwise,
they'll remember it if it doesn't.
yeah, but not necessarily remember it, And honestly, the amount, I used to remember all the different scams and shit that came up from the very early of Hexy and all. There's so many things that came out early on.
On PulseChain or before PulseChain came out?
Before Pulse, way early on. I used to know almost all of them too, and I can't remember majority.
You should make a song about them. No, I shouldn't. We should look forward to the future, not the rest of the past. My God.
But I'm working with 3 dev teams on 4 different projects right now. And I totally sympathize with people who are like, when, right? Like they want it now. But you can't
fast, Abdul, you understand. You're fast.
I do understand. But the code isn't fast, right? The code is slow. No. It's got to be ready. If it's not especially if it's a financial product, which is most of the stuff that I'm dabbling in, right? You can't rush it, right? It's not good. It's got to be audited. All the stuff has to happen.
It took
once you've been in crypto a long time too, you realize that it's gonna keep just going, So you release it at the right time, and then it'll be out, and then 2 years later, you look back and be like, oh, that was right or wrong or whatever, But it's gonna keep marching on, So everybody just chill out here, Take it easy.
Chill. Don't know about y'all. I don't know what's gonna happen next. We're gonna chill for a good decade. Let people make awesome stuff on the chain and just chill out. That's what we're gonna do.
Gaming wise, I think we're coming up to an awesome time for new things to come out, right? The next 6 months for PulseChain in particular, and for DeFi in general, it's gonna be freaking awesome in my opinion. I think we're gonna fly.
Yes, I agree. I think that those retail people that we were talking about. They're going to come back. They're going to hear about lots of cool stuff. They're going to hear that all the government and all the corporate overlords have filled their bags enough, and that now they'll be pumped. They'll be told that they should put their 401ks right into Bitcoin, and they should take out a second mortgage on their house, crypto, and we'll go up a lot. I hope it doesn't end badly for everybody, but I hope everybody makes super mad gains.
Careful of liquor, ladies, and leverage, everybody.
Yes,
it's coming from a lady.
Those are dangerous, ladies.
We'll watch those ladies. We're out for your seeds.
That is good advice.
Is there
My
anything
father
you?
once-
You go.
I was just gonna say my father once told me after his third marriage that it was good financial advice to just stay married, much less expensive. But yeah,
That's that is true. That is true, especially after 3. I'm sure that's
it would add up. Yeah.
So apart from avoiding the 3 L's, is there anything else you think we need on PulseChain for it to be a smashing success financially? Or do you think we've got all of the toolkit we need?
Now, feel free to just mute me if this is wrong, but I still would like Pulse to be listed on more centralized exchanges for people to just easily get in on. I think it's it's not a big deal in that we can't be successful without it. It would just be really cool. Kind of like the band Rush. They weren't on the radio, but boy, once they were, that's what it's like.
Yeah.
Like us, I'd like Pulse in particular to be on centralized exchanges. It'd be really cool. Coinbase would be thrilling, and we won that case and whatnot. So I just hope and wish that would be the case. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, no, that's a fair comment. I think we've got everything we need, but it can always the paths in can always get easier.
I'd like some of the. If I had to pick a tech thing, but like a tech thing that would be neat is the they have the hypothecated like you can pull apart what is it called? I can't remember the name of it now on Ethereum right now, where you can pull apart the yield and the asset itself. So like if you have a staked Ethereum, you can then like sell what the yield should be, like you can split those apart. It's like gosh, what the fuck is the name of it? I can't remember.
APY.
Huh?
APY is one of the ones that does that.
Yeah, that's one of them. And there's like the Pendle. I think that they have the same. They're ones that do that too. That's what it is. Yeah, and so like that stuff. I mean, and again, is it like massive innovation? Not really. It's like new, cool financial tools that were already a thing in traditional finance. Traditional finance has a way when you buy a yield-bearing instrument, you can then hypothecate it so that like you could sell off the yield beforehand, for what it would be worth, and then also sell off sell them separately. It's like I think that's something that like is just another layer of finance that would be great for us to have on Pulse, because I see it being popularized on Ethereum, and that's somewhere that like that's something. And I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that is a thing in traditional finance that should be there. So I think that's something I would like to see somebody develop on Pulse. I think it could have some value. If you could,
we do have the actuator protocol for Hex. Kind of fills that gap in a way. It's not quite what you're saying, but it's very similar. Kind of like futures market for Hex.
Yeah, exactly. It is for Hex. Yeah, that is close. That is close. And I'd like to see it for what is it, for Vouch and for the different validator X, all those. Like if there's a way to to split the yield up like that too. I think that just entice more people that know what they're doing with that stuff to come and play.
That's an awesome one. Yep. Just on the actuator protocol, I think that is pretty underrated, and I think it's underrated simply because where we sit in the cycle, and I think as more liquidity becomes available and TVLs grow, that protocol is going to be more interesting, and it's definitely a long-term one that I think if you learn how to use that, there's some really interesting things going on there. It takes a little bit to get your head around because it's got some more TradFi type concepts to it, which would probably a lot of people in crypto would need to understand a little bit more. It's more like bonds and sort of things like that. But yeah,
which they should get to understand. You got any spare time? Learn some TradFi stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. There's all that stuff's applicable, and the bigger we get is bigger crypto gets, it's like the more, the more we want to have all those options in crypto, and the more you get, we're a part of, this general macro cycle too. So like it all kind of is going to tie into each other. The more you know, the better.
Yep.
That's right.
No, good things coming.
I just made a note to fork Pendle, so we should have that for you in 2 weeks. It'll be easy.
Hot Prol, if you can just vibe code that for us while we're on the stream, that'd be great.
All right.
It's not a big protocol; it's just tiny. It'll be easy.
How about someone make some vibe code tokens on the Pulse chain, man? You run out of tokens.
I'm gonna pump tires one up right now. Now we're talking about it. Shit.
But yeah, it's just another thing too, and it's funny because of course, again, the entropy, we need projects on the Pulse chain, but you could also just wait and see Ethereum be beautiful, and then they might come to the same conclusions that Richard did with these ERC20s and go over to Pulse chain when it's astronomical fees. Like what is a hard fork of Ethereum that's affordable? Oh, there is one. It's PulseChain, and it took 2.5 years? How long did it take to do that? It took a while. It took a lot of money too, a lot of devs. I could look that up, but I remember we were waiting forever. Oh, is it ever going to come out and everything? Because it was that much work. It was that much work to clone PulseChain. And
the thing I'd like to see is to have like PulseChain assets, like Pulse in particular, but other things on many other chains. Like if you look at like other major chains, like it could be Ethereum being the obvious one. You can buy as much Ethereum as you want on the Solana chain, on the BNB chain. You can buy as much BNB as you want on Ethereum. And that goes for most of the other big chains. So you can buy Polygon on a dozen chains. You can buy AVAX or whatever. So like, I think we should be able to buy and sell Pulse on Base, and BNB. All the big chains should have Pulse, as well as other core tokens on them. So if people are building things, one thing to consider could be building a Pulse chain oriented product on not Pulse chain. That'd be cool. Like yield farming for Pulse chain on Ethereum. What do you guys think?
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea because to incentivize the bringing people to because people need to offer the liquidity to make it not liquid enough to not just be shitty slippage. So you'd want to incentivize that. So some sort of product like that to get people to be interested would definitely be a good idea. I mean, people don't chase that yield, and then you get some decent value locked up.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Rather than you don't necessarily have to drag everyone across to the chain. You can go where they are to meet them as an entry point for sure. And I think we do have a little bit of that on the ETH side, and maybe a bit on Base. I don't know, but I don't like.
The easiest is on ETH for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Liberty Swap's trying to do that now. They've got some new coins on some new platforms, but I feel like most of their stuff it's like one directional. Like they want you to come in, which is good. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I do like the idea of having the assets all over the place. You just say you can have your ETH portfolio. You still just don't even have to be across the bridge to buy some Pulse.
Yeah, I think like if we go in. If we kick up into a next wave, ETH pumps, and we see other things start to pump, I think something like Liberty Swap is going to be really important because people will want to be able to, especially if they're seeing massive green candles on a Pulse chain, they're going to want to be able to come across, and you need some easy way to facilitate that because there's nothing worse than you're trying to figure out how to get into a network and it's a 3-hop process So I think that's going to be actually more important later on in the cycle, because if people are trying to do the rotation side of things, that will become
that bridge, like the Omni bridge that was forked for PulseChain, it would just be like I know it's more than a couple clicks, but it wouldn't be a huge deal for that to be a multi-chain bridge. And I think that's something that the dev team should look at is, why not bridge direct from several other chains, not just Ethereum? Obviously, there needs to be liquidity. There's things have to happen, but it could be cool.
I feel like I just was reading something today about Pulse getting integrated into a multi-chain bridge. Where is it? There's like a 150 chain bridge too. It's like a big, big one too.
That's what I like to hear.
Hyperlane. Hyperlane. Yes, thanks.
Hyperlane.
That's what we're getting integrated into Hyperlane thanks to Hex Scout and generous donor. We have a new way to bring money into Pulse.
Yeah, that's
that was
Lane,
the 50K thing.
Lane as in LANE, LANE.
Hyperlane Nexus Bridge, which is like it's 150 different chains that is on it. So it's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody donated, whoever they are, like thank you, sir, or ma'am, for donating the money to get the devs to do the work to put us on it.
Score.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I mean, love to see some centralized exchanges list PulseChain, but I love to see that kind of stuff even more because that's the world that I'm comfortable in, is doing everything on chain, and that's the world I want to live in. And I hope more people choose to live in that world rather than have to go through centralized exchanges. But yeah, that's a bit of an education process. So yeah, that excites me, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that is the nice thing is that, I don't feel like the general crypto audience that out there really cares too much for a lot of the parts of crypto that I like. The decentralized nature of things, the censorship resistant stuff, like the things that really got me into crypto to start, why I felt like it was, important. I feel like there's actually reason to care about that stuff here in PulseChain, whereas like a lot of the other, in most other places in crypto, if I start talking about, hey, this is why crypto is actually a thing, and this is what's actually really important, and here's the actual innovations that they're going on, everything else is a story. When you start telling people that, most people are just like, yawn, snooze fest,
whatever, edgelord, I'm just here to make
100x leverage, go fuck yourself. And I'm just like, okay, fine, sounds good. I like that. Yeah, like I can't argue with them. It's because they're just don't. Because it's like I'm arguing right past them. They don't care about these what I think is important at all.
Cool. So, that's why Bitcoin was made in the first place. But you go on keeping on.
Exactly. You're just like, and they're like, sure, whatever you say, Grandpa. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Like I get
Grandpa Warbucks as soon as it goes up 10x.
So I think that whatever that reason is, I'm really I'm glad to be in the community that we're in and have the the tenets of like what our values are here are way more aligned with mine than most ever else in crypto.
That's why I'm still here. I see that the things getting built on the chain are all building towards that same collective goal. And you're right, a lot of people don't give two hoots about that sort of stuff, but I think that's a journey that everyone has to go on as well. And some people will never end up going down that journey, but I think over time, especially with some of the rules and regs we're seeing come through from our overlords these days, it'll take a little while for people to catch up. Maybe we're
it's one of those things people don't care about. They don't care about, I worked in companies that have never been hacked before, and they don't really give a shit about cybersecurity. They're like, whatever. And until they get hacked once, and then they're like, whoa, we're gonna need to pay attention to this stuff. So until it actually matters, they don't care.
So I think everyone in their own good time will get there, and
they'll figure it out. I'm glad to know it now myself. And like anybody.
Yeah. On that note, Richard winning that case against the SEC is glorious, and if you look at the chart, that's something that it doesn't tell you, but it's like, oh man, this is he won. He
That's
won.
for sure. It's like, we're seriously coiled up. There's a lot of potential buy pressure for everything. That we don't. That only we know about a lot of it. There's not a lot. There's there's going to be lots of marketing devices going out to a lot of different places that we all know about, but not the majority of crypto has no idea, so.
I think when you're in the weeds,
if the red notice thing goes away and RH has a completely clean slate and starts streaming again, like I think that's going to be an insane multiplier.
Insane multiplier.
Do
Yeah,
you think that? Do you think that actually impacts people at the moment? Like, if you're outside of the ecosystem, do you even see the red notice? Like, I don't go and Google Richard Hart or anything.
People would
on the daily, so I don't know.
Like, most of the money's in the States, right? And from an American perspective, the SEC's a pit bull. Interpol's a poodle, right? Like, it's not as big a deal.
No, it's not as big a deal, but it is the kind of thing that, like, if you're a centralized exchange or you're anybody in the broader crypto space that, like, wants to have any reason not to play ball with us, or not to be friendly, then they do. They do. That's, until that's gone, then they still will be like, well, what about this? And it's fine. Yeah. When that's gone, it's gonna be a lot harder to be like, why not? Why not? Then just come out and be like, well, we don't like you. Fine, I can take that. I can tolerate that. But
I think that's a really good point, and that's what we've seen with the Uniswap guys, where their excuse was SEC. Mm-hmm. So they locked it down, but to their credit, they done the right thing. And after that excuse was out of the way, they came good. So if we keep knocking down each of those excuses, it leaves them with very little reason not to start looking at more integrations and things like that. So maybe, you're right. Maybe you could be right. We need to knock down that one last excuse. Hopefully that helps.
I mean, no, there's, I know these cats pretty well enough to know that they'll probably find something else. But it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, the better, the less reasons for them to complain, the better.
Bitcoin used to be so vilified, and Litecoin, way long ago, it was used for no good. It was Mt. Gox and crypto up to no good. And it had the worst. And Coinbase used to advertise in just seedy areas. Like, now they're all legit. It used to be just whoever has Bitcoin belongs in prison because they're paying for drugs or whatever. It's something off the dark web. And it was like that for years. And now you have straight edge squares. Oh, I've got a Bitcoin portfolio, and I have a thing.
Now we're all
chain link. And they don't remember that it was just for degenerates. Just straight, and
it was super fringe. And now we hope that the governments of the world will buy our bags. It's
right.
It's
crazy.
The whole redemption arc of crypto from like when I started now it's mind blowing. I started on some Monero and just like maybe all privacy is important to like. The government's the president made a meme coin. The government might buy our bags.
I'm at the point now where if you're not in trouble with the government, then your token's probably not going to go that high. Like, you need a healthy. You need to go through anyway. Hi, Maddie.
Hey,
what's up, buddy?
Well, hey, you guys have certainly had an amazing panel, and appreciate all of you for showing up here and for showing up all the time for PulseChain and getting the word out.
Sometimes a little later than I was expected to, but still, thanks. Appreciate it, buddy.
Well, thanks to all of you for participating in yet another PulseChain and Hex conference. I appreciate you guys, and we've got our final panel up next after this musical interlude.
The only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got a set to win. We're a family, we all the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. ICOs, pump and dumps, they always try to take you. Buy low, sell high, I'm tired of your fake news. You need a token, you broken, you wanna see some massive gains? Lambo, new crib, model wife, cash and chains. Look no further at your final destination. Don't be complacent every day when you paper chasing. Choose the best, leave the rest. Stop investing like you press the only crypto that you'll ever.
Hello. Good to see everybody again.
Hello.
Welcome. So we have Fast Abdul, Timothy Benjamin, Hex Monkey, Whitney Magic, and Zenith. Got a couple more joining us here shortly. Welcome.
Great to see everyone.
Having us, Maddie.
Fast Abdul again.
Yep. I'm back.
Wardrobe change?
It's a quick wardrobe change.
Absolutely not. He would never do the thing. That would be totally preposterous. Should not expect it in the future, ever.
The professor version of him.
Oh, nice. Professor.
I liked Captain
It's
Fast
serious,
Abdul
guys.
Picard. That was a good one. All right, tell you what, Maddie, you titled this panel "Winning." So we did a little prep in the green room. We want to talk about some winning and where we think PulseChain is going to be doing some winning. I think we have a really good one. Miss Whitney Magic, can you start us off? Where do you think that we're winning right now? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here, but we got to get it going. It's live, baby.
We got to get it going. And actually, I think we have a few ladies in the chat, but I think we're really winning with all the ladies on PulseChain for sure.
Yeah.
Not only we could see, I mean, we had Hod Pearl on the last one. We have beautiful Rachel, who's welcoming all of us in as well. But the ladies in PulseChain, that whole volume, that all of us, we just keep on flocking into the space. And I just keep seeing more ladies step onto Twitter, step out into their networks, just really all the ladies that I'm chatting with, PulseChain feels like the number one easiest thing for them, where they're like, I have my safe bags and I have these other things, but like PulseChain is the thing that lights them up, brings them into crypto, and really has them learn even more. So thanks to all the guys, but thanks for all the ladies for coming on in. And I think we're just gonna be on the right side of history.
Love it. Tell you what, let's kick it over to Mr. Monkey, see what he thinks.
All
You had
right.
a winning topic, so what you got for us?
Yeah, I was thinking about a little positivity rant of sorts, and it connects to onboarding as well. There positivity rant. There was a lot of discussion about how to onboard, and I'm going to throw my own 2 cents in there. Like, there's a theme of PulseChain or any network being the rails or the highways, but what you're really after is the cars, all the cool cars and trains on there. So what I would focus on, one thing I'm going to suggest we can focus on to onboard people. Some people are blockchain nerds, so you can talk about the train tracks and the roads and how we're faster, cheaper than Ethereum and all that. But most people are going to want to know what cool stuff is on this chain. Like, why would I bother? I'm not just going to buy the L1 or the other cores, even though they're valuable. So first of all, I want to shout out the incredible amount of awesomeness on this chain already. And it's only been 2 years. Like, it blows my mind as I was making notes of just scratching the surface. It's like multiple DEXs, PulseX, 9-inch, 9mm, FUX, etc. All those liquidity forks, which you guys covered on the last panel. If you're into yield farming, there's so many ways to do it. Not just PulseX, but 9-inch, 2 FUX, Homey farms, emit farms. I'm probably skipping some. There's just so much. And memes, boy, do we have memes. A lot of them are garbage, but I think the ratio is actually pretty solid compared to
Hex Monkey, where did the memes hurt you?
Point to the chart where the memes hurt you.
We have pump tires. So where I'm going with this is, if you're onboarding someone that's maybe on another chain or somewhat knowledgeable about these things, if they're into memes, then tell them about all the awesome memes on PulseChain, even if memes are not your thing. Like, they're not my thing. But I've been in some chain agnostic chats and communities where there's meme degenerates. So you better believe I'm rattling off all the cool memes that are on our chain. And similarly, a lot of people are into yield farming. That's like their thing. Well, we got all those protocols I just listed. Come on over. And they're all different, and they have different advantages, different flavors. If you're into NFTs, especially ones that earn you rewards, and you think digital art is cool, well, then we have the Anti-Gravity Project. Nothing wrong with shouting that out. Some people are really into that, and they're hardcore in that community. You want to buy tokens in an over-the-counter manner so that you don't, incur a lot of slippage. Well, we got 0x Bistro. It's on PulseChain today. It's out there. Some, for low liquidity.
Looks great. I use it all the time. Zero slippage, OTC exchange, doesn't touch the chart.
That's right. We got Solid X, which is a token which is about to be associated with a licensed professional online casino. The Firewhale talked about that at length in a recent stream. I think it was RH Max. If you're an advanced bond nerd or hex nerd or both, well, we got actuator finance where you can do yield curve management, and you can spend hours and hours of fun there. So like there's so many paths you can take people down. So if there's a call to action, I'd say to the folks watching that are in the community, like learn as much as you can about all these things, even if you're not personally using them on a regular basis, because there's going to be someone who will. And it's amazing.
You can actually speak with the founders of many of these protocols, right? Like, which is not going to be the case on Ethereum. It's totally different. You can get a firsthand early access, tour of a protocol on PulseChain from the founder.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's something for everybody over here already, and that never mind what else is going to be developed in the next several months and hopefully years.
And another dynamic to everything that you're saying, Hex Monkey, Richard Hart's title on Twitter is Richard Hart Win, and the subject of this panel is winning. And one of the things that I'm thankful for is that Richard Hart has given us the opportunity to create winning on his chain. You mentioned pump tires. I know a little bit about that. And that is an opportunity for people to think, if they think they have what it takes to win, there's an opportunity to create winning in your own space, in your own token, if you want to go there. And, that's just another option that's been given to people that want to participate in this space. Just another check on the list there.
Well, we've got the whole Brady Bunch here, so let's go around the room and hear from everybody what your definition of winning is for PulseChain, or what's something that makes you see winning in our future.
Well, for me, winning involves having a plan. Whatever you're going to do, you have to have a plan to get there, and you got to be willing to stick to the plan no matter what kind of opposition comes your way. Because if you don't plan to win, then you're going to just fail. I forget how that saying goes. Fail to plan, plan to fail.
Plan to fail.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I associate with winning, is having a way to get to that destination of victory.
I dig it. Rachel?
I think winning is taking gains and actually paying yourself. It's been awesome to be a part of the community and everything that has come with that. But also, if you've waited this out, you deserve to take the gains when all of the crypto goes up, especially within PulseChain. So taking gains is a good thing. And I think that's winning.
Absolutely. Fast Abdul.
I think you guys are thinking way too small. PulseChain is going to be the catalyst for something much bigger. We have people like founders and a community here, and it is really all about the community. There's going to be so many rich people from this community who have founded projects, who will continue to build for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 cycles. And that will probably be, big players in politics and, more major things like that, that it may actually change the landscape of governments going forward.
Love it. Axis?
Hello, everybody. I would say that winning probably looks like the ultimate form of winning for PulseChain would be controlling monetary policy at the Fed level.
Yes.
That would be the ultimate win. But you're kind of just shifting power from one central guy to a couple other central ETH whale guys. So I don't know. Maybe it could get messy too. So winning, I think overall though, on a personal level on this chain has definitely got to do with price up. So whatever we got to do to go out into the world and make money in the real world somewhere and generate revenue and bring that stuff back home, it's going to have an amplified effect in the bull run the further you go. So if you want to win harder, you just got to keep working, I think, at the end of the day.
Let's go.
Shout out to Maddie for getting a Bitcoin billionaire on this podcast. That took a lot of work, didn't it?
That was pretty rad.
Yeah, it did. Thanks. Zenith?
Well, hard to follow up those two after we talk about changing governments and changing the Federal Reserve. So we'll try to figure it out. But for me, I think it's survival. We all got those Cuatro Cinco stakes that we would love to see come to maturity someday. But in order to make it out that far, you just got to keep winning the fights that are in front of you when they are in front of you. So right now, that just means make it to the next cycle, have the chain survive, have the protocol survive, have the chart survive, so that we can keep it going, so we can actually see those Cuatro Cinco stakes mature.
Hell yeah. Whitney?
2 for me is alignment and adoption. On the alignment level, I find all of us, we're all individual investors or individual builders, individual educators, influencers, whatever you want to insert us as. And so you have to be in align with your own energy intentions, what you're building, your plan, everything that everyone's mentioned above. And that alignment of you being in your confidence, you being really strong and unshakable as a leader, as all of us are, being earlier adopters in the network, that helps build more adoption, that helps the people who are coming into the network not only come in for, of course, green candles price go up, but then they keep on staying in of PulseChain is a great place. We love you. Welcome to PulseChain.
Yeah. Good slogan. Hex Monkey, winning.
Yeah, winning. I think Fast will think I'm not thinking big enough, but hey, what can I say? I'm in the present moment here. I think the fact that we're all still here is winning. Like there was a time 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you could pick your year since Hex launched. Like there was so much FUD and so much animosity, lawsuits, SEC, where I was thinking, maybe this just isn't going to work out, privately. I had my doubts, but we busted through. Like, I'm not afraid of anything anymore in regards to the possibility of this chain succeeding. Like, if we made it this far, we're going to make it. We already made it. It's only upward from here. So that's winning. And secondly, having the best, tightest, most talented, diverse community is winning. Because I'm somewhat familiar with some other communities, and I have not seen one like this still to this day.
Amen. Let's go to Cabana, and then I'll give my answer last. Welcome.
Winning. I mean, I think Axis and Monkey touched on the easy answers. So definitely easy answer, like Axis said, is price up. Community for Monkey's part there. That's, I mean, there is no other community like this. Even outsiders that come in or browse from the outside always comment. They're like, you guys are so passionate. You guys are unwavering. There is no community like you. Love them or hate them. Talking about us. There is nothing like that. For my answer specifically, I'd say core coins and utility, along with that community aspect. There is a lot of scamming, grifting, rugging out there. That's going to happen. It's a blockchain. I've said this from before PulseChain even came into existence. While it was created basically for Hex to make Hex end stakes cheaper, it's going to open up a whole new world to a community that was built around a long-term horizon, 15-year looking out plus token. So building around those core stacks, even the ones that the ones that have utility that can possibly help you increase your cores or make things that are already on this chain really cool and enhance them. That to me is winning, and that's what I want to see built.
I dig it. Yeah. For me, my answer to the question of what does it mean to win on PulseChain is that you ain't seen nothing yet. Richard Hart, he thinks big and thinks on long time frames. And so, the people who will possibly be rewarded the most in the long run are going to be the longest holders, just like we saw in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this whole idea of never before seen marketing, this idea of doing a direct mail campaign, possibly to the richest subdivisions in the world, that could create a new level of outrage marketing. It could create a lot of noise on the internet. It's a postcards 2.0 type thing. And, people can laugh at it all they want, but, if you look at the SEC case, did Richard ever say 2 words that the government could use against him whenever every other crypto had to settle? PulseChain did not. PulseChain won. And so I expect a lot more of the same and bigger and better types of winning. And so, yeah, really excited to see how that goes.
Yes. Yeah, if there's a winning themed panel in next year's conference, it's going to be out of hand. That's what I predict. It's going to be out of control.
We'll have a winning conference.
So much winning.
The next one, I guess, it's going to be January 6th through 9th. That'll be the 6th. Can't even believe I'm saying it. The 6th annual Hex conference. I do these pretty much twice a year. And the Hex conference always on the same dates. PulseChain conference varies a little bit based on various factors. But yeah, we've already heard some really good macro analysts say that they think January this year is going to be a good month to do another conference. Let's roll on to another topic. I'm going to try to make this one open-ended so that people can work in, various answers. But starting with you, Timothy,
Yes.
What's something that you wish that people knew about PulseChain, or an Easter egg, or kind of something that not everybody knows?
That kind of catches me off guard, to be honest. Really, the thing that I wish people knew about PulseChain was really just the optionality that it offers. Learning about decentralized finance in contradiction to all the commercials that promote trading on centralized exchanges. On centralized exchanges, you don't have a say in the liquidity and all of that. What we have here through PulseX and the other dexes we have here, we have the opportunity to literally define our own value, set our own terms, and work with those variables to create results that whatever those are. So to me, that's the thing I wish people knew about PulseChain, is the power that we have behind the infrastructure that Richard has provided us. I mean, to have a real practical knowledge of that and use it in a way that is mutually beneficial to everybody that participates in the space, because that is there if people will learn it and utilize it.
Having expert users and being true DeFi, yeah, that's nothing to mess with.
Yeah.
Rachel?
I'm going to take it down the code route. When PulseChain launched, well, actually before PulseChain launched, the devs were finding things with the Ethereum code that was forked that the devs at Ethereum were not finding. And I think that that is something that's super interesting, because the code that PulseChain is using is rock solid in a lot of ways, and it is a different infrastructure even than what Ethereum has. And so while it is a fork, when you fork code, you get to do whatever the heck you want with it. And so we are a fork of Ethereum, but there are special things with it, and I think it is maybe even more safe and even better because of the devs that have gone through it.
Facts. Yeah, it's a bold statement to say that Ethereum is PulseChain's testnet, but It's also kind of true.
Definitely true.
Fast?
Did you guys know that USDC and USDT can be frozen on other chains, but not on PulseChain? I think that's one of the factors that's going to make PulseChain a wealthy people's chain. So if you have USDT on PulseChain, they can't freeze your account. If you have it on Ethereum, they can freeze it so you can never sell it. Something to consider. And on top of that, we currently have 5 stable coins, 4 of them being liquidity forks that can never be frozen anywhere. So that's cool. And I think we're going to have more stable coins coming. Maybe Richard himself will launch one. So those factors, I think, will make PulseChain the rich people's chain.
P died $2.
That too.
Ooh. I'm just waiting for that blue guy to show up and say, no, retard eye to $1.
Okay. Costume
I
change.
forgot about that one.
Kick him out of here.
Sports
Oh, wait.
time.
It's his conference. Never mind.
Oh boy. Sir in the hornet's nest, everybody. I really wish that people knew why they needed PulseChain. But that's often a hard conversation to start up with a lot of people. Because it's like, well, why should I care? You know, most people are too busy surviving on the hamster wheel to care. And so it's really about connecting with, I think, just through marketing. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. If it's killer, I have no idea what's coming, but that's going to be cool. But on a personal level, we have to be able to go out and reach people. And if they just knew like why they needed it, maybe they'd care to even learn how to swap and stuff. So airdropping is a pretty solid strat, but it's like, how can you take that to the next level, you know, as we go forward?
Dig it. Gosh, I'm going to come in here with the nerdy answer. I was going to say, I wish more people knew and understood liquidity. I think that liquidity in the markets is something that has been largely missed. And if we were able to explain it easier to people, a lot of the negative feelings that we've seen over the last few years might have been able to at least be explained or possibly even avoided. I think that when we saw PulseX drop the emission rates of the incentive token by 97%, that was the incentive for people to pull liquidity out of the pools. When you pull liquidity out of the pools, it means that price can move further or more aggressively in any direction, because that's how price appreciates goes. It's not through market cap, it's through liquidity pools. So unfortunately, I think that one was a bit of a double-edged sword for the community, because it means price can move easier. Can it move up? Yes. Can it also move down? Yes. And then we saw some of that, but then to take it another step further, it was probably 3-4 weeks ago, we saw a hex whale, I want to say, that dumped and got out, and we saw a rather large red candle immediately on the 1 hour chart, but the market was ready to absorb the liquidity, and it actually ate it back up almost within the same day, and then even went on a bit of a 3 or 4 day run immediately after, just to show that, like, yeah, the liquidity pools might not have been deep, but the appetite for the liquidity was there. So it could happen like that. And at the end of the day, last I checked, incentive token emissions are still at 0.03 per hour or per minute, I want to say. So yeah, liquidity's down. So we have the ability to pump. And last I checked, yeah, it's pumping season. 4-year cycle, we were in that time. So let's see it going.
Scarcity. Love it.
I wish more people knew about the consciousness that lives inside of PulseChain. I chat with a whole bundle of different ladies who are either in crypto, buying crypto on centralized exchanges, or in crypto and different DeFi stuff. And a lot of ladies want to invest based off of their values. And a lot of ladies' values are around decentralization rather than centralization. However, they don't even know this exists out there in the crypto world. Let alone do they know that you can invest in something earlier, something that is designed with the liquidity side of things to pump. I think that it's really just answering a lot of people's prayers. And then once they come on in, for really people to see, like, this is the chain of the people. And there's just a lot of really great, real, good-hearted people, conscious people who care about people in the space. There's just a different feeling that comes in when, especially my ladies, find PulseChain where they're like, this finally makes sense. So I just wish more people out there in the world knew that PulseChain was really the chain for the people. And this is where a lot of good-hearted people come. And I know a lot of good-hearted people will get wealthy from this chain as well.
And this is a bragging point, is How many women have you onboarded into PulseChain in your group?
Right now we're at 220. Yeah. And those ladies are now going out there and onboarding a lot of their friends. That passion is very much living within them. And they're like, we need to hear and learn about everything on the chain as well. So a lot of the ladies have not only been investors, but they've been bit by the passion bug of crypto, and they're going out, and women love to gossip. So PulseChain, we're getting out through the ladies, through the grapevine.
Yeah, love it. Well done. Hex Monkey?
Yeah, what do I wish folks outside knew about PulseChain? I think even the quite knowledgeable users on other chains, the last they heard about PulseChain was Richard was doing a fork. It's to make ending your hex stakes cheaper, and there's a couple core coins. Okay, that's great. That should be the foundation. But if those people knew about all the awesome frameworks that are also over here, not just Hex, not just the core coins, I think they jump over like, whoa, really? You guys have that? And I listed several of them earlier in this segment. But I wish more people at all levels knew about all those protocols, and also the level of talent that we have for builders, developers on the chain, people that you can reach out to directly and get some advice. If people knew this, they would come. I really, truly believe that. So that's how we can, this is a solvable problem. We just got to change the message, because, you know, Richard's been quiet for a while. He had to be. He wasn't, prior to launching PulseChain and soon thereafter, he wasn't talking about all the other great things that are going to pop up. Or maybe he did, I don't remember. But now they exist. And now we can leverage that as to attract people over here. So I wish people knew about all the awesomeness already here and in the works. Fast has at least 23 projects, you know, at any given moment. That's just one example.
Minimum.
We've got the whole 9 yards. Yeah, love it. Cabana, what say you?
Well, Maddie, I would say start with the basics. Just how to get on the freaking thing.
Hell yeah.
And you know, I really I kind of chuckled inside listening to Whitney, but also it was like, you know, Queen over there, never been on stream with her or anything, but for onboarding that many people, congrats to her. You know, I just have a couple stories myself, maybe within the past couple of weeks, and either it was, you know, trying to get friends to buy the bottom, or just answering questions because people know that I am in crypto and I keep telling them about PulseChain. They're like, how do I get on it? And I will type out, even on my stupid phone, and send them detailed instructions for how to do it. And granted, these are not ladies. These are not compassionate people. These are dudes just be like, please tell me how to do it. And they still cannot fathom how to bridge over. We're all crypto pros here. You know, I can explain things pretty easily, especially in text, but I think it's just too much. I don't even know what it is. I love the, you know, the panel's thoughts on this, but it's the time or mental energy with some people, perhaps, maybe it's just the ones I know, but I really don't think so, as to how to get onto the chain. And once they're on, I think they're in. And, you know, the panel's answers here to this describe why that would be the case. And I think I saw, you know, Crispy Man in the chat as well, you know, highlighting the marketing aspect and, you know, kind of touching on that. And that's a big part of it. Now, if, you know, so these supposed devices that are out there bring more people to the chain by explaining it and hand holding them onto it, then I think huge things are ahead. But I think like the thing that I wish more people knew is how to get onto the chain, because I get people be like, well, I see Hex is listed on Coinbase, but PulseChain's not listed on Coinbase. And it's just like, well, you can see the price on Coinbase, but it's not really Hex. You can't buy it there. Well, why is that? Why can't I buy it on an exchange? So it's just the simplicity of getting to the chain for me.
Yeah, these are good points, Cabana, but I would like to give a positive spin, which is this stuff is teachable, not in 5 minutes, but it
Are you
is
saying
doable.
I'm a bad teacher, Monkey?
It depends. Obviously, it depends on the people you're trying to get on the chain, but their success stories. I'll embarrass Tim real quick because he's been on a run lately, recruiting no coiners. They've never been in crypto. He's bringing them over to the chain, so it is possible. There's a lot to go from no coiner to buying and selling on PulseX. So this is teachable. Maybe it just takes a little more time and a certain kind of person willing, with an open mind. But it is, to your point, Cabana, it's, there's a lot of steps involved going from cash in the bank to something you can buy on PulseX.
Well, let's talk about onboarding as the topic after the next one. Go ahead and get your answers ready, because I'm gonna ask a Whitney Magic style question of like, what's your why for being in crypto or being in PulseChain? And while you're thinking about that, I'll give my answer for what I wish that people knew about PulseChain. You guys all gave great answers, and they're probably going to be better for people who already, they're not already in crypto. But mine is for people who are already in crypto. Did you know that the PulseChain sacrifice bags stopped the stable coins from depegging during Operation Choke Point 2.0? And when USDC was not redeemable over a weekend, what was that, March 2023 or whenever it was, like the redeemability of stablecoins failed, and like Tether and USDC was like depegging down to 88 cents. Who was buying? Who stopped a total meltdown of crypto that the government had orchestrated? Well, it was the PulseChain bags. And so, you may have seen like a much greater meltdown of crypto, and you might not have seen crypto come back in its same form, or stay relevant, if there wasn't a buyer of last resort, and if there wasn't some sort of somebody looking out for everybody else. And so, even if you hate PulseChain, even if you hate Hex, the sacrifice bags definitely saved your ass during that depegging. So, you're welcome. So
are you
yeah,
implying that our founder is benevolent, Maddie? That he's actually,
I don't know who runs the OA, but there may be some monk out there that is really looking out for people, and also made a pretty penny on that whole debacle. And so yeah, that's some really impressive lore that probably the mainstream crypto people haven't figured out yet. But I hope someday that story gets told and celebrated more than it is now. So we'll go back around the room here with Timothy Benjamin. If everybody can give their why for why you're in crypto or PulseChain.
Well, when I first learned about Bitcoin 14 years ago, what I learned was that this was an opportunity. Cryptocurrency served as an opportunity to take the place of store of value in the role of money, because money has three things: unit of account, medium of exchange, store of value. At that time, I had already known that the dollar had failed as a store of value. So when I learned about crypto, I saw something that could take that place. And then, of course, my journey in crypto introduced me to Richard Hart. Richard Hart saw that we needed something where people could earn trustless yield, because that's what people wanted from crypto. That's what created Hex. So that's why I'm in crypto: store value, trustless yield, things of this nature. And now through things like pump tires, we can literally create our own value and put these principles into effect any way we want. So that's why I'm here, to make it work.
Love that, Tim.
Dig
That's
it.
so deep. My why, I'm gonna give 2 whys. My why for being in crypto is honestly, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, and the world that we live in today, that's not super possible. And so crypto will provide that, which is awesome. So that's my number 1 why. My number 2 why of being in crypto and also making crypto videos is being able to create something that will help someone else. And I think that that's why a lot of people found coins and everything. But I love making how-tos because it will help people, just like onboarding. And we'll talk about that probably a little bit later. But it's great to be able to give someone knowledge on something that I know how to do. So those are my 2 whys.
Respect.
The reason I'm in crypto is it's pretty simple. Flow
For the
charts.
tech.
No, not the tech.
Gentlemen,
the flow
you're missing
charts
the
that
obvious
lead
one. It's
to the
actually
tech.
We're getting scammed
Actually-
now. This is bullshit.
No, bribes. Bribes.
How did
Don't
you
listen to
not
them.
say it was for the tech, bro?
It's okay. I'm here for the tech, but flow
you.
chart is what brought me in for the tech. It's like pirate treasure maps for grown-ups, and that got me in here. But the reason I stayed on PulseChain in particular is because I could see all these missing spots in the flow charts that could be filled with the tech, and that's what I'm here for.
I'm glad you brought it back to the tech.
Nailed it. Fucking
I was
nailed
worried.
it, dude. Okay. I'm gonna be a cop out, and I'm just gonna tell you guys I'm here for one thing and one thing only, and that's to give and receive freedom. Crypto represents freedom in so many ways. It's like, you guys, if you're here, you know what I'm talking about. So want to give that to more people. I think there's a clear path. You just gotta work together, I think.
Well, time to be blunt. I'm here to make money. And I know that sounds terrible in the face, but to be honest with you, I think it's actually a compassionate answer. What we're doing is we're actually investing into what is a financial product. I think if you're not honest about that, you're not being compassionate because you're trying to tell somebody it's something that it's not.
Right.
There is a lot of things built around it, like community. All of you fine people. I have loved getting to know and hang out with all of you guys. But when it comes to why I'm in crypto, I'm here to build wealth. And you got to recognize it's a financial asset. To hit you with the old Thomas Sowell and Adam Smith version of the value of money, it's that money is really just a representation of your physical labor and your exertion in the world. It is a representation of the labor that you've put in and the brain power associated with it. So whenever you ask people to spend that on something that has potential risk, you're effectively asking them to spend part of their life on a thing that does not have a guaranteed risk of or rate of return. That's a big ask in my opinion, and I think being disingenuous about it will do you a lot of disfavors. So the more honest you can be, I think the more straight shooters we can be, and that's how we really build trust inside of a community. It's almost like trying to build trust inside of a trustless protocol is slightly difficult to do unless you start doing all this stuff, which is getting the team together, circling the wagons, talking about everything going on, break breads with friends. It's really about it. We're here to make money. Please don't let me tell you that I'm trying to tell you something else.
I agree.
Respect.
I'm in crypto to be on the right side of history. And this comes with, yes, making money, freedom. And also I find and know that all of us, like the world is shifting, power shifting, and being on the right side also is being on the right side with the right people. I don't want to be in a world where I feel like I'm behind. Instead, it's like we are all rising together. With that money comes different level of influence in the world of what we're building more of. And we all get to be leaders in different ways with that. So yeah, want to be on the right side with that and also rise and bring other ladies really into that space as well of different leadership so that also the big money and the big wealth doesn't feel big and daunting, but instead it's like, what are we doing and what are we building from here at this time?
Hell yeah.
Okay, I think I'm next. So my why is, economic prosperity. Let's face it. I'll confess to Zenith. I'd like
Always
to,
room for more, brother. I
secure
can
the
deal with
bag.
honest people any day.
But isn't it grand to achieve that or pursue that with like-minded people who value self-sovereignty of those funds that you're trying to grow? Like, many years ago, I started, maybe there's some plebs who started like me. I just bought some things on Coinbase because I thought number would go up, when I didn't know anything. And then it was like, wait a minute, you mean I can send this to my own wallet and no one can take it from me? Mind blown. And then when Richard Hart came along with Hex, like, wait, you mean I can earn yield without surrendering it to a company or an entity? Like there were steps and stages of this. So now my why evolved into all those things combined. It's make a lot of money with a community of like-minded people that value the same things that I do. In my regular profession and colleagues and regular friend circles, I don't share this with them. I mean, I share it when I talk to them, but I don't have this in common with them. We're not on the same page. We're not pursuing the same thing for the same reasons. So that's what gives me goosebumps. Is this is way more fun, what we're doing here, growing with you guys, than if I was just sitting in an office by myself trying to make a number go up, So it's like-minded people trying to pursue the same things for the same reasons.
Respect. Cabana? What's your why?
I gotta go with Zenith and Monkey, but on Monkey's point, it has evolved. So originally it was to get to where I wanted to go quicker. Crypto's, the fastest appreciating asset class in history, and I come from a traditional finance background. Done that for a long time, since my college years, and the crypto thing came around, and I got into Bitcoin and eventually Ethereum, and had some success with that, and found Hex and really liked what that offered. And just kind of as time goes on, you try to grow your stack, not lose it. And then PulseChain came, and throughout this, I guess, crypto journey of mine, what's also come along is the community. And it's really been cool to not just meet people virtually, but in person. And that's where I, kind of shout out Hex Monkey there, is like, it's evolved into, seeing what else can be built on this chain that carries utility, as well as interacting and, meeting some really cool people, in the real world. And to me, that's, kind of just they're evolving, things that keep me in this. I think I would guess most of us here have a 5 stake or two. But that aside, this is, we're not just talking about Hex, we're talking about a blockchain and what can be built on it. And, there's so much creativity in this community, that's why I'm still in PulseChain and will be for a long time.
I dig it. So for the next topic of onboarding, go ahead and think about, you could tell the story of how you were onboarded to crypto, someone that you onboarded to crypto, an elevator pitch for why you think PulseChain is the best. Really trying to make this a broad onboarding round of stories. For me, the why I'm in crypto and the why I'm in PulseChain has to do with self-improvement. And I became obsessed with how cool self-improvement is when I was working as a mental health therapist and helping people to quit the substance abuse that was ruining their lives, teaching a course on healthy relationships, which of course starts with having a healthier relationship with yourself. And something that not all therapists figure out is like, if you're really teaching something useful, you can do it yourself. And so being able to scale the message of mental health, that was something that I wanted to do before I learned about crypto. And then, it wasn't until I really came across Safety's the Bitcoin Standard, where he lays out a really good argument that the human nature of society really like shifts based on like how honest the money is and how hard of a monetary standard that you have. And so when the government is printing money like it's a joke, and when they're like shutting down people's bank accounts for throwing Hex and PulseChain conferences, you know, like that gets me really fired up to say, hey, like there's probably a better way. And on top of that, you know, the idea of crypto contingency management was also a starting point for me in crypto, because when I first heard about Bitcoin, I wanted to build something that allowed people to pay themselves to do healthy behaviors like quitting tobacco smoking, or writing a book chapter, or doing something of use to themselves and others. And but at the time that I came up with that concept, the transaction fees on Bitcoin were $50 for a single send. And, you know, then years later, whenever like, you know, the idea was much better developed, yeah, same thing on Ethereum. And so the fact that PulseChain has low fees really, you know, like excites me. And that's part of the reason why I'm here, is because I see time pays me as a way for people to better themselves. And I also see Hex as a way for people to better themselves by paying their future self. And so, yeah, really cool stuff we have here. Really good tech and really good community. I'll throw it over to Timothy Benjamin for an onboarding story.
I've been trying to think of one here for the whole time. You know, I really don't have like an elevator pitch that I give to people when I want to share crypto with them. It's all kind of in the moment tailored thing. And to be honest, now that I have my own coin, it's a lot easier to introduce the subject, because they're dealing with me. They're not dealing with something. So, but as far as like an individual experience, I'm kind of stuck at the moment, because there really hasn't been anything that has been really overwhelming and out of the ordinary. It's, yeah, I'm kind of at a loss. Maybe I'll come up with something after Rachel.
Tim, I think that's okay though, because it's good to have the consistency of getting in average day people, because I mean, that's who I am. And so, and that's super powerful. And so even if you don't have some big crazy story, that's okay, because you are onboarding people into it.
Yeah. It's all the people that I've onboarded are just, I won't say all of them, but many of them recently have just been no coiners. Like their introduction to crypto is PulseChain. That's all they know. And all they know about that is what I tell them. So it's like, they're just like, well, okay, I'm in. So, and that's it. There's no bells and whistles, fireworks type of experiences. It's just streamlined.
Which that's great to get into a decentralized everything right off the bat. I wish that was my story, but that is definitely not. So don't worry, that is great. Let's see, my story for onboarding. It was kind of hard for me to think of one too. But I was thinking about what Cabana said about the bridge, and just how that has maybe been a challenge for some people. And something that I've seen, I've made several videos actually about the bridge. And so it sparked my thoughts about that when you said that, Cabana. But my bridge videos that I have on my YouTube channel are my most watched videos. And so it is a point of contention, but it also is a point where we all have the opportunity to be able to help people with that. And so I've seen in the comments, I mean, I posted, I think, the bridge video literally over 2 years ago, and I still get comments on it every single week of people asking questions about that. And so I think that it is a point of opportunity for us while onboarding people, but also it's exciting that we have the opportunity, that people are wanting to use the bridge. So I think it's great. pass it to you, Fast.
As far as onboarding goes, I think.
Real quick, I wanted to shout out Rachel. You made a video of how people were able to buy PulseChain for the first day of the conference, and you made a tweet prior to that saying like, "Hey, everybody, pitch in your advice here." And I saw that it got over like 10,000 views in one day. And so that's another way that we've been getting the word out and onboarding people is just by, by asking others for their input and creating that network effect. So good job.
Thanks. Go look at that tweet. I learned some things from that tweet, the replies.
Cool. Fast. Sorry.
Let's go. For me, like onboarding is all about like targeting the right people. And I'm most interested in the people who can make the biggest difference to the chain. And I think that's going to be influencers. And I'm not going to say I've been super successful in onboarding influencers, but I think there'll be a tipping
Hey, hold
point.
on. Aren't those called KOLs these days?
Oh, I'm sorry. KOLs. Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Key opinion leaders. Yeah. People with 100,000 plus Twitter followers. But I've been doing a steady campaign of, making what I like to call bribes on other people's YouTube streams. So I'll put up a super chat on big KOL's non-PulseChain streams about PulseChain, and they shout it out like more than not, right? And sometimes I'm only spending $3-4 in strange currencies they don't recognize, and it'll get the mention, right? So like I think long term, that kind of activity of reaching out to people who can make a big difference if and when they come aboard is going to be the big win, right? So like let's keep working on Ivan. Let's keep working on like the big names in crypto who aren't PulseChain centric and bring them onto the chain. That's my mission.
Yeah.
I got a really cool onboarding story. Right before I got on my first segment tonight, I got a phone call from a friend that's got like 50 grand in Pulse. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to close out this account and bring 60 grand in. And I'm going to need your help." 60 grand, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Round of applause.
Let's go.
Woo. Go
All
get
right.
it. Spend your time chatting with us, man.
Yeah, let's go. It's all starts at, it's got to start somewhere, Monkey. Right? We got to onboard somebody.
Yeah.
But no, the other interesting story was excuse me. I onboarded my childhood friend into Hex in 2000 and I think it was 21. He was like a Bitcoin miner with me and had done some Ethereum mining with me, and we just started going hard on Hex like a little bit after Big Payday. But anyways, I can confirm that Tam is not AI because that onboard flew out to meet Tam in Texas, and she is definitely real. So
yeah, I've met her too. She rocks.
Dope. We have 2 degrees of confidence. Can we get a third?
Her and I are not the same person, by the way.
Okay, that clears things up. Thanks for that.
I do not have IRL confirmation of Tam's existence, but I hope to have it at some time and in the near future. She has helped me out tremendously, and I hope to return the favor there. When it comes to the onboarding stuff, there might be a theme to what I'm talking about here, but I think that for me, it's not about just like shouting to the high heavens about everyone, because then you kind of look like a crazy person. Just trying to do the best that I can, and people ask me if like, "Hey, you doing pretty good?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm doing very good." They say, "Okay, how'd you do that?" And I'm like, "All right, now we can start the conversation if you're interested." At that point, it still is very much trying to understand the other person I'm talking to, understand what their risk profile looks like, understand what they're trying to get out of this whole game, so that I can meet them where they're at instead of just try to throw a bunch of things at them. Because when it comes to the onboarding stuff, I would be surprised if there's not one of us on this panel right now that has some sort of Crypto 101 or onboarding content publicly available out there. Lord knows I've been spending about 10 hours of the last month just trying to record some Crypto 101 content, trying to explain to people that, yes, the reason we're in crypto is to the 2008 financial crisis when the banks got bailed out, the value of money keeps going down, and I hang out with Axis outside the Federal Reserve every Thursday, and we try to heckle Jerome Powell. That kind of stuff, and then comparing it against like the different asset classes. Like, yeah, you can go buy gold bars if you want. There's pros and cons to everything. In crypto, same thing. But I will say, when it comes to the onboarding rabbit hole, I don't think I've experienced anything as wide and nearly as deep as this has been. because I originally came in here just doing some like stock and option trading and additional to traditional investing. And I looked at the charts and I'm like, these guys are winning so much harder than I am. Let's go and see what they have. So I got hooked up with dollar cost crypto and Cultivate crypto over the Moon Gang, all those guys. And then I got hooked up with guys like Matty All In. And then I met Fast Abdul, and he was teaching me about how he's building a protocol to incentivize people to sell votes in exchange for a correct amount of currency at the fair market value. And then I hopped over with Axis, and he's trying to explain to me that Bitcoin is going to change into the gold chart instead of have 50% corrections. And then I'm like, that sounds a bit out there. And then a year and a half later, I see people on CNBC pitching me the same exact theory. And I'm like, that man was onto something. But yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole. So you just got to get people that care about it. You got to care about what they care about. Can't really make them care what you care about. We clearly care about this. So hopefully at least the positivity is infectious.
Okay, Zenith, I'm going to piggyback off yours. So please, it was a great starter.
Much appreciated.
People, just like all of us, we're all humans. And so in the world we live today, everyone's just like trying to push things at people. And instead, if we can start to slow down and just ask people what they're actually looking for, how's your crypto journey going? Are you intrigued? Why are you here? Then you start to understand where they're at. And then if there's a gap to be filled and if PulseChain is for them. It really is a fit for a lot of people, but it's such a daunting space and it can feel so cryptic and so code-like and it moves so fast that I have found so many people just feel overwhelmed and they're like, who can I trust? And so the best way to build trust is to ask questions, to listen to people, to see where they're at, to meet them there, and then just to be honest with them. Because the reality is we are in a financial space that is a very volatile asset class. It's not for everyone, but if someone's wealth goals if you find that there's an alignment there, this is why I just say really get to know the human. And then from there, the actual physical onboarding part, we all, like we were just saying, like there's plenty of videos out there. It's just creating things in a simplistic way of being like, these are the 5 steps you need to go on. I found that Liberty Swap has been the greatest, easiest no-brainer to send onboards with, sped the process up from it being a 40-minute process to now I can record a video, which is like a lot of other steps within 10 minutes. Not to mention that the swap can just be moved over within 20 seconds now. So just realize that there's a lot of easier way in things out there. And I think even just letting people know of like, hey, for you to take a few more steps, AKA opening up a MetaMask or Rabby wallet. If you take a few more steps, you're buying into something before it's hitting a centralized exchange, and therefore you can get a lower price entry. So just even letting people know of like, you need to do a few more steps to be rewarded for this helps them understand why. And it just helps them relax a little bit. So just bring some humanness to the onboarding process.
Absolutely.
If it's my turn, I'll go. Yeah, I totally like what Whitney was saying. I was going to say something similar. You got to meet them where they are. And there is a giant range of people and knowledge. Like on one extreme would be somebody like a no coiner, or maybe they heard of Bitcoin in the news and that's all they know. Well, for them, it only makes sense to start them out on a centralized exchange, get them comfortable with just wiring some cash in there. I've done this with one person special in my life. Like, you heard of Bitcoin? Yes. Have you heard of Ethereum? No. Well, here's what it is. And here's why I would recommend you go buy some Ethereum. I mean, not financial advice, except that it was. And just hold on to that for a while. And that's appropriate for them. It truly is. So excluding, I mean, in the future, who knows? But so excluding those types of situations, because I think Maddie's question was directed towards PulseChain. You know, it depends. Like I was at you got to take it based on who it is, how well you know them. And like I was just at a concert very recently with somebody who I've known for many, many years, very knowledgeable about crypto, but only corporate crypto, like companies that issue token. So DeFi is like outer limits to him. So that's where I started with him. Well, I launched right into DeFi because he's already, you know, fully aware of what crypto is and what its value proposition is. And then Then there's the onboard candidate who is already versed in DeFi, is maybe on another chain. Well, here's why PulseChain's better. And we talked about that earlier in this segment also. So I think that's what you do. You meet them where they are, and it's almost like you need to have 5 or 6 elevator pitches in your back pocket, where you can just pull the one out that's appropriate for them.
Right.
So that's what I've done.
Cabana, onboarding.
Yeah, I'm not the most salesiest of people. So, but if I, were to, see a prospect out there, it's usually basically, do you want to win harder than you could elsewhere? And that goes back to my point of, crypto being, such, a positive price appreciating asset class. Now I go back to the salesy kind of thing, because I would guess a few people in this panel may know, maybe all of us, and I know a few in our community know, that, if you pitch something to someone, and it works out, you might get a thank you down the line. If it doesn't work out, you'll never hear the end of it. So that I just don't like doing that. I don't like having a higher risk tolerance than most people I talk about things like this to. That being said, we started, this panel off about, or I did, talking about getting people over to PulseChain. So with that being said, green candles are the easiest pitch, because it's easy to talk about. People come to me to talk about it because they, see and hear about the success in crypto and or PulseChain, and that's the pitch right now. We haven't had it for a while, but in the past, little while the rest of the crypto markets have been heating up, I'm getting these random calls. I'm getting the texts, and then I go into education mode and trying to onboard. So for me, I'm not a overly salesy guy. I obviously stream, and I love to talk about crypto, educate about crypto, talk about things that I like, all that stuff. But green candles are wonderful marketing, because the leads come to me, and then it just goes from there.
Awesome. Yeah. So many good answers here. And before we go around the room and find out where people can find out more about you, I guess my little onboarding anecdote is, or kind of how I approach it, is very much based on a long-term play, and based on having multiple points of contact with people. And so I really like to go IRL, especially at crypto and tech conferences, because I've found that crypto and tech conferences attract a lot of people who don't have very many social skills. So if you do have social skills, you really stand out, and you can speed run around and really make a lot of connections. And whether it's using physical tools to give people the digital aha moment in their mind, like having a cold storage coin loaded with Hex that I gave to Jordan Peterson. I also gave one to Hawk Tua. Those may be viewed differently.
Quite
but
the spectrum there, sir.
That's quite the spectrum. Yeah. And then just trying to maintain an online presence and a social consensus. I think a lot of the people who watch my channel and who have been faithful over the years and like my posts, you're the reason why why my in-person work has been boosted to the point where, the founder of Kraken is following me, Mike Novogratz, Jason Calacanis, all these giant names. I just got a follow today or yesterday from the Redheaded Libertarian. I think there's like 3 or 4 people who follow me who like Elon follows, like Scott Pressler, who has insane engagement, probably one of the highest engagements after Elon. So like all of my in-person work, like, you know, although I do things that are spicy and unpopular at times, like definitely I'm still out there like working, and I was at Ron Paul's 90th birthday last weekend, and that's how I got Brock Pierce to come on the stream, the wealthiest actor in the world and the guy who you know, co-founded the most profitable company in the history of the world per employee, Tether. And so yeah, like you know, as long as the haters don't get me down, then like, you know, I'm still out there working on these long-term plays for our community. And you know, really nothing means more to me these days, like in the online arena, than having all the speakers here show up for the 4th annual PulseChainConference.com, because it really does show our longevity and how we cooperate and coordinate with each other in order to get the word out. And so I really want to thank everybody who's spoken, and we'll go around the room here and hear about how people can follow everybody here and continue to support your work.
Well, I recently had a real website built after my previous one. It's Fitzgerald.company. It has all my links to all my socials and explains everything that I'm into. So anybody that wants to contact me can just go there and find a way to contact me. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, everything pretty much. So that's how to get a hold of me.
Awesome.
How to get a hold of me is cryptobestie.io. That's where all of my online products are and my courses. And then all my social medias are at It's Crypto Bestie.
You can find me at Fast Abdul, as displayed on the screen here, on Twitter, or via one of my protocols. So it's 2phux.io or Ink Printer. That's incprinter.com. Links to Telegram there. I will not DM you. There's lots of scammers out there. Everybody be careful.
Thank you very much, Maddie, for hosting once again. You can find me on accessalive.com or maybe Telegram or Twitter, X, pretty much always the same thing. So go check it out.
Maddie, always a pleasure. So big thank you. Well, Fast Abdul called us influencers. Access said that we were key opinion leaders, but I'll just call myself a shill here. Did recently launch a new project. It's called Walk the Block, Navigating Digital Finance YouTube channel. You can go check it out for free. We stream Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. The point is we're trying to be a professional, more family-friendly show that is interesting enough for Fast Abdul to pay attention, but also explained at a level that we can keep his grandma interested as well. Outside of that, yes, DJ and Roundtable will also be continuing to make content over there. Mr. Will Stevenson and I have a great show that we're trying to do this next week. We're reading a book analyzing the psychological and evolutionary traits of religious figures and possibly trying to see if certain people in the crypto space have been trying to pitch themselves as religious figures. So try to put out good content for you guys. Maddie, thanks. Always a pleasure, sir. Whitney, what you got?
Cool. Hey, Instagram is my favorite place to play. So whitney.magic.crypto. Then queenofmillions.com for my community, for ladies. And biggest thing onboarding wise, you guys were asking for just other ways to bring people in. I teach, and I have one coming out on Tuesday. I'm teaching a free webinar. That's your Crypto Confident Guide. If anyone wants it, go to any of my socials. I have all the links there, but it's free to sign up, and people can ask me questions, and connect with people in that space. Usually I have over 100 people on those types of calls. So come on in, send your new people that way.
Cool. Yeah. You can find me, HexMonkey369, on Twitter, X, and also Telegram. I hang out in both places all the time. If we're not already following each other, let's change that. If I haven't met you in person yet, like I'm looking at you, Cabana, we should probably address that at some point. I think I got everyone else covered. But if you want to chat, I'd love to hear from you.
Oh, me. Hello. I am Cabana Crypto, can be found here on all platforms. You would be able to see it, but I'm being hijacked. So
sorry about that.
PulseLand.iu. That's you, right?
It's all good. Oh, well, Maddie took it off, and
yeah, we still don't know. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So at Cabana Crypto, usually X is where I'm most active. CabanaCrypto.com will take you to the YouTube channel, and also play around, mostly play on the Instagrams. So happy hour shows, we're doing our season premiere probably 2 to 3 weeks out, and as things pick up on the chain, I'm seeing a lot of really cool stuff that's being built. We have some really cool founders already lined up, so really excited.
Let's go. Well, thanks to all the viewers. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Follow all the speakers. To thank the speakers, the PulseChain conference will publish each of the talks as a standalone video on the x.com/PulseChain Conf account. And I want to thank Rachel for being the stage manager and helping to make this entire conference possible. I want to thank the sponsors again, texitcoin.org, Pateus.io, and PulseLand.io. And then there's a few more giveaways from Pateus that we'll do as a part of releasing the videos on Twitter. So make sure to follow the PulseChain conference Twitter account at PulseChain Conf. All my stuff is mati.pls.fyi. We've had another incredibly successful 4th annual PulseChain conference. So thanks to everyone. And until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Let's talk about the highest appreciating asset class today. It's crypto, not stocks and bonds. Boy, this ain't for play. My word plays to educate the children around my way, so they can get out the hood. No, I don't want to stay. Education's critical, and my life pivotal. Could have been in jail or dead. Yeah, it's just that simple. But back to investing. Here, take some notes. Never go all in like jumping off a boat. Dollar cost averaging. Google that term so you can keep your shirt on, so you don't get burned. Now there's a risk to all investments. This you should know. You can take yearly profits and get ready to blow.